Hello, welcome to another episode of Podcast 572. As always, I'm your host, Kyle. Today, I'm just joined by Matt. We'll say Dan is out on assignment. We'll start off with saying I have gotten the Platinum Trophy in Oblivion. So all I have left are the Shivering Isles. I'm taking a break to play Death Stranding 2, which I'll get into that in a moment. I played very little of Death Stranding 2, but enough that I can at least talk about the beginning of it.
Yeah.
But I'm done. Otherwise, with Oblivion, I kind of just wanted to be done because I'm getting to the point in that game now where, like, as we've kind of talked in the past on the podcast of, like, they literally just took that old game and dropped it in Unreal 5 and did not do anything to fix any of the jank. And I'm starting to run up against stuff with that jank where I'm like, I need to be done with this.
That makes sense.
So, but yeah, Shivering Isles, that's the only thing I have left, but I got the Platinum. I super ran through the Dark Brotherhood thing really fast and just was like, I'm good here. So, I played a little bit of Mario Kart World. I know about the update that has pissed people off with online, but I have yet to play a match that came online. So, it doesn't really affect me. The other thing, I don't really have much more to say about Mario Kart. I still think it's a really good game. The other thing that I have played on the Switch too that I purchased is Fast Fusion, which is the sequel to Fast RMX for the Switch that came out at the original Switch launch, which is kind of ironic.
Oh, okay.
This came out Switch 2 launch. It is, if you ever played back in the day on the N64 Extreme G, or know what that is, the racing game, it's a modern version of that, basically. It's really cool. It's got a pretty good soundtrack of like original music that would make sense for that type of game.
Oh yeah, this kind of reminds me of that one. What was that, like FX0?
Kind of like that. Yeah, it's kind of like that.
Yeah. Okay.
It has a switch mechanic, so like there are two different types of like boost pads. There's an orange one or a blue one. You have to press a button to switch between the color orange and blue while you're racing. Otherwise, you'll slow down. Yeah, it's very much like, it reminds me of Extreme G. For whatever reason, I played a shit ton of that on the N64 back in the day.
Yeah.
So, a lot of fun. What's weird about this, because again, we're in this weird point where it's like, okay, this is the Switch 2. It's obviously more powerful Switch. This game has 5 different graphical options.
Oh, geez.
Between like 1080p, 1440p, 4K. Like, it's ridiculous. The only one that doesn't allow 60 frames is the 4K, like full true 4K, which makes sense.
Okay.
But I will say for this game, you want it to run at 60 frames or it's going to be unpleasant. So, but I've had fun playing that. I played a lot of Fast RMX. So that was an awesome game. And it's just, it's more of that. So, the big thing this week is Death Stranding 2, which I have right here. Went and picked up my physical copy. This is actually a game in 2025 that's on the disc. What a shocker! Game is 100 gigabyte install. I don't know how much of it's on the disc, but it's not one of those, like, it's a 33 kilobyte. Yeah, it's not one of those, thankfully. It was funny when I went to go pick up my copy, and I walked into Best Buy. The guy behind the counter was like, this is the only thing people have been picking up today for reserves, and everybody that has picked it up alphabetically by their last name, like in order.
Oh, damn.
And he's like, I don't know what's happening today, but that's weird. So
that's wild.
I thought that was crazy. So I've played the first hour and a half of it today. What's weird is, like, for a Kojima game, I went into it expecting, like, it's a Kojima game. You're expecting 3-hour cutscenes. This game kind of just starts and puts you right back into it.
Oh,
in
yeah?
a really weird way where like the way in which the original Death Stranding ended, it's kind of odd that Norman Reedus's character, I'm trying to, was it something Bridget, Sam Porter. I had to think of his name. His character is just very okay with going back to doing all that. Like in the beginning, like he kind of it takes place 11 months after the events of the first game. He's off with the child that was connected with him in the original game is obviously able to grow up like a normal child now. So obviously that child has aged a little bit, is no longer in that like glass jar. It's just being raised like a normal child. And that fragile character shows up, kind of finds him, and is basically just like, hey, we need you to do the same thing that you did connecting America, but now we need you to go do it for Mexico. And it's weird because I don't think this was a thing in the original Death Stranding. It's been 6 years, but this game has dialogue choices. And so you could go through and say like, okay, well, why do you want me to do this? And I kind of went through all of them, and then you can say no. And I was afraid to say no because it is a Kojima game. So I feel like if I said no, it's going to do something crazy, like the game ended here or something stupid.
Yeah. Okay.
But I am curious what happens if you say no. But I said yes, and then all of a sudden it's just like, you're back into it, man. All of a sudden, here's these like 4 parts of Mexico. I've already gone and connected the first one. Like, it's kind of ridiculous how fast this dude's back into doing this shit.
Just like right back into it without even a hiccup.
Yeah, I did not expect that. I really expected like this 3-hour long expose cutscene, and I don't know if like somebody sat down and told Kojima after 30 years like, you need to edit yourself maybe or something, but it just seems very quick so far. It's really weird. The other thing that is really cool, and I've only had one experience with this so far, but the biggest difference between this and the original one, other than the locale, is there are real-time weather events. And when they happen, if they do something to the map, it permanently stays that way. So if there's an earthquake and you're walking in the mountains and part of the mountain comes down, it's like that for the rest of your game.
Oh, okay.
And shit like that. So I experienced a crazy sandstorm. And it is wild navigating that. It's a sandstorm that also has lightning going on. This is right after like a little stealth part of the game that was very well done, but I expect that from a Kojima game. So it's been a blast to play so far. Gotcha. But I'm just more surprised at how edited and straightforward Kojima is with this game. So I'm interested, as I will obviously 100% dive into more and have way more to talk about with it next time we record, because it literally just came out. But I am surprised just at how quick it's like getting you back in the saddle. So, and I've heard that's the other thing is like, it's weird to me because I remember when the original one came out, it was a very divisive game. Like it wasn't a straight, everybody was giving it 10s out of 10s, like normal Kojima stuff. There were people that disliked it. So far to the point that they picked a different guy at IGN to write the review for this one, and then put out an article, which we'll talk about when we get to news, denouncing like the original review of the first game. Like that guy, basically like that guy didn't know what he was talking about. Wow. So it's really weird, like this shift that we've had over this game. Because remember when it came out, everybody just was like, it's a walking simulator.
Yeah.
So, and there's, well, it's very easy to define it that way. There's a lot more to it. So, but yeah, I've barely dived into it, but it leaves a very good first impression. It does an okay job of kind of explaining the events of the original game. But I would also say, like, if you're not going to play the original game, play this for whatever reason, go look up a YouTube video, because that original story is pretty wild. So,
well, like I told you, I mean, I have the original game. Like, I just haven't plugged it in.
Yeah,
maybe that's something I need to go ahead and do. I don't know. Like, I've seen. I don't have anything against Kojima. I think he's great. A lot of his games.
I think what happened here is he made Metal Gear Solid 5. That's, that was his last Konami thing. Obviously, he had to split. That game, in my opinion, a masterpiece. Love that game. It's probably my game of the generation, last generation. And then he had his cutoff with Konami, And I think when he made Death Stranding, he made his company, he hired a bunch of people, they made that game, and it was Kojima unchecked, right? Like because there's nobody above him to say, what are you doing here?
Yeah, what the fuck is happening?
And so that game is batshit insane. And I think between that game and this one, I think somebody somewhere must have come in and said, all right, we can tweak this and do something here. It doesn't have to be so insane. And that's kind of how it feels so far. It feels very more straightforward. Like it's Kojima, but he's more focused.
Okay,
would be the best way I could describe it.
So it's like Death Stranding 1 was just him unleashed. Like
he was
this
unleashed.
Is what
like,
I really
there
wanted
is so
to
many
do.
like even then, like I mean, I've had discussions with my best friend about that game, where like I kind of tell you the story of it, but like it's pretty wacky towards the end. So it's out there, but this seems more straightforward. So
all right.
That's pretty much it. I mean, the only other thing that's going on right now, the Steam sale's going on. I've got a couple things on my list that I'm looking at getting for the Steam sale at some point here. There's that what is that one? I keep forgetting the name of it. Like the game that's supposed to be like Oblivion. That was like a indie Oblivion game, Tainted something. That is on a pretty decent sale, so I'm thinking about picking that up. I think that was down to like 30. And I was like, you know, I kind of want to play that at some point. I don't know if I'll do it or not. The other one I was thinking of doing, because I never played the DLC, is Cyberpunk. I never did the DLC for that game. And at this point, if I'm going to do that, I'd probably just do another run of that game, and I might as well play it on PC. So, because I played it on Xbox when it came out. So, but yeah, the Steam sale's going on. There's a bunch of crazy shit. There's, I will also say there's a multitude of simulator games I'm looking at too. So,
oh man, you guys stop doing it.
Cash cleaner one I told you about, like there's a leaf blower one coming out that looks pretty. It's not out yet, but it looks pretty.
We got to play real games. We can't keep playing simulator shit.
I looked at the other day, so I didn't put it in here, but Supermarket Simulator hit its 1.0 update, and it has now been announced to come to PS5, which will make Dan happy. Yeah. I have not gone back to it since that, but even like pre that release, I put 180 hours into that game, and I've put 60 into this other grocery one.
Jeez Louise, man.
But that one, like, they're not adding anything new to that one. It's just, literally, when I tell you, it's the same thing I do. It's like, I restock everything that I can afford. I open the store for like 4 days. I completely sell out the entire store, and then I just restock it again and try to expand it over and over again. So. It's gotten to the point where like when it's time to make the money, I just let that game run and I go and do other stuff and come back. So, but yeah, that as far as like stuff right now for games, that pretty much covers it. Like I said, I'll have much more to say about Death Stranding next time we record because it literally just came out. Yeah. So I will kick it over to you. You do have something on your list that you have played that I do want to play, and that. I had an opportunity, like I have it installed, and we haven't played it yet.
Yeah, so I'll get into that. So I just real quick, I ran through Pikmin 3. I wanted to get it done, and I got that finished. Okay. So that's off my list. I'm still playing a couple of rounds of Balatro or whatever it's called,
Game's
just
great.
because it's just fun. Like it's just a random funness to kind of like put in and not really think too hard about. While we were talking last time, I decided to check and see, and that game, Cairn, Cairn.
Yeah.
That's that mountain climber one.
Yeah.
It had a demo, so I downloaded that and I gave that a shot. It's not bad, but it's definitely not something I think I'd be into. Like, unless it dropped on like a really cheap sale, I think I'd get it. Like, visually, it's gorgeous. Like, it looks really pretty. But, like, the mechanics to climbing the actual, like, wall and whatnot, it's a little wonky. I'm not, like, 100% certain if I'm, like, a big fan of that.
Yeah.
But, I mean, like I said, visually, it's beautiful. Like, I really, like, there's a point in the demo where you can sit on part of the hill and just kind of overlook it, and like just that was really pretty to look at. And then the game you're talking about is FBC Firebreak.
Yeah, so that's the multiplayer component to Control. It's a 3-player, right?
Yeah, it's a 3-player, like
3-player teams, and you're basically like containing events within the oldest house, right? That's what it's called. Okay.
Yeah, so like you can. So I haven't played a round where it's actually 3 people.
Okay.
Like each time I've played, I've only played with 2.
Did you fight the Post-it note monster?
No, not yet.
Okay, that's what I want to see.
I've only played like 3 rounds of it.
Okay,
but I will say it is good when you do have at least one other person with you to run that game, because aside from that, there's like no real way of getting through it by yourself. I feel like
it feels like kind of like a. I don't want to say Left 4 Dead, because you can get through it by yourself, but
it's challenging. It's challenging. Yeah, I was about to say it's very challenging. So like the first time I played it, someone joined me at the last minute, which was helpful. And then the second time I played it, I was I think what they called like I had the gear kit or something like that.
Okay.
There's like 3 different kits. One is it's the splash kit, and then I think it's the gear kit, and each one does something different. I can't remember specifically the other 2 or what they're referred to as, and I was trying to look that up, but it doesn't.
What did you play it on?
Xbox. Well,
Xbox,
PC.
Okay, it's on Game Pass. So
yeah,
it's on Game Pass, and it's on PlayStation's equivalent of Game Pass. So because that was the reason that both Dan and I went back and did that like upgrade during the days of play.
Yeah,
to get access to it. Even though I can play it on Game Pass, it is crossplay. So. Which is cool.
It's not bad though. Like I mean, I did enjoy it, and I had a lot of fun playing it with the person that I did play it. It's just a little bit of a pain if you're not. I think communication is key in that game, because like when I was playing it with the guy that I was playing it with, I kept trying to get him to come over to me, but homeboy was just not like working with me. He was like off doing his own little thing.
In-game emotes or anything like that to try and communicate? Okay.
Not that I could find. So like it's just one of those things where like you couldn't like I think you can mark if I remember correctly, but like it really varies on who you're playing with on whether or not it's actually going to be somewhat good. I will say like the gameplay is pretty quick. I essentially got through each of those matches in like 10 to 15 minutes. It wasn't too it wasn't too big. And the hordes that come at you aren't like too crazy. I mean, they can get wild. I did get flooded a couple of times, but it's not something that makes you like rage quit personally.
You know what it makes more, now that I think about it, it'd be more like trying to do Call of Duty Zombies by yourself sucks.
Mm-hmm.
Like just no
that's
fun.
what it feels like. Okay. It's not fun. Like you can do it, but it's not fun to do it by yourself.
Yeah.
So that but I will say like I enjoyed it though.
No, we'll definitely try it this next time, because I do want to play it. So
yeah. And I mean, that's I kind of, like I said, when I saw it on Game Pass, I was like, well, you know what? Let me just give it a shot and see what happens with it.
I think that was the wise thing for them to do, because I think without putting this game on Game Pass and the PlayStation thing, like, I don't think it would sell.
And I don't think I would buy it.
To be honest with you, I think it's normally a $40 game, and it's already off of. I don't want to say like Control and Alan Wake are niche games, but like they're not as popular. So trying to make a multiplayer spin-off of those.
Steam right now has you can get Firebreak the Deluxe Edition and Control the Ultimate Edition for $50.
It's not a bad deal if you've never played Control.
Yeah, that's not a bad deal at all. But then like if you just want to play FBC Firebreak, then just like Game Pass that thing, or like I definitely playing it, I definitely would not pay for it, because
I'm with you there, and I'm a fan.
I think it was fun. It's also just not something that I think I would like.
Yeah,
I would have never bought it and tried it if it wasn't on Game Pass.
Yeah,
right, exactly.
Okay.
So other than that, though, I mean, it's a fun game though of what I played on it. I'm hoping to jump into it some more this week if I can. And then a game we were talking about, which ironically, I don't know why I did it to myself. I bought Elden Ring Night Rain. Because a friend of mine's was talking to me about it, and he needed somebody to play with, and he is telling me that the randoms he kept getting with were just not with it. And I'm like, dude, I haven't even played the first Elden Ring. Do you really want me as your teammate? And he's like, I'll tell you what to do. I just need somebody to play with me because I could use the help, and these people aren't really helpful. So I was like, yeah, sure, I guess I'll buy it. So that's like, I think I'm down to game number 5 for the year. It's either 4 or 5.
Okay.
So I got like, I'm gonna say this is game number 4 that I bought for the year.
Okay.
So I'm down to 6 moving forward. So, but all I've played is the tutorial. I haven't gotten too far into it. I've been getting my ass handed to me by the boss of the tutorial. So
sounds like a Souls game.
I did, yeah. And I told him, I was like, dude, you're gonna have to help me with this tutorial boss to get past this because I don't know.
Can you co-op the tutorial?
I'm not 100% certain.
I was say, or is it one of those games where you have to play through the tutorial to even do co-op?
I think I have to play through the tutorial to do co-op. So my intention is to actually get into it this weekend to try and get through the tutorial so I can actually play it with him. It was weird though, because when you were in the tutorial, like you pick up another person to like help you go through the tutorial boss.
So maybe it's trying to show you with NPCs like how the game works.
But the downfall is once that NPC dies, you don't get them back. Like
that means that's like regular Dark Souls. Like if you summon an NPC and they die, it's over. So
yeah, so I'm like, all right, cool. And because when I was playing it first, I was like, all right, cool. You know, I got this NPC. We can work together. We both died. And then I went back and I was by myself and I was like, oh, dear God. I was like, all right. But yeah, like I said, I'm going to try to jump back into it just so I can help my friend play the game.
I've often looked at Elden Ring and thought about going back, like the regular one. Mm-hmm. And then I think about like, well, I get it. Like people love Elden Ring, but I like the linear aspect of the Souls game more than the open world of Elden Ring. So then I think like, well, maybe I actually want to go back and either play like the Dark Souls remaster again or the Demon Souls PS5 remaster, which is a fantastic remaster that I believe they did do a pro patch for. So maybe
I'm
that's
just not a huge fan
point
of these games.
I know, I totally get it. And that's why I laughed when you told me you bought it because I'm like, boy, that's not of the games that you have on your list. I feel like that's one where I'm like, boy, you might have wasted a slot there.
Yeah, you know what? I'm hoping I didn't. I'm hoping I can kind of get into it because, like, I've seen people play Elden Ring, and like I watched my friend play it when the one that I'm playing with right now. I've watched him play it when I've gone over to his house, and I mean, it looks like a fun game, but it's also like. I also know like the Dark Souls game and like the lore of those type of games. So it's like, why did I really do this to myself if I don't even really do these games in general? Yeah. So I figured to myself, well, shit, you bought it. So now you have to get through it and play it because if not, you wasted a slot. And you can't waste slots. Not in this years, man. You gotta save your time. The funny thing
that I never thought of it until I think it was around the third Dark Souls. And then somebody had told me the reason they like the Souls games is because it's like somebody finally made a Castlevania in 3D that works.
Yeah.
And
you know what?
I could see that. That would finally clicked for me. And I'm like, that makes a lot of sense why I like these so much because that's essentially what it is. It's a Metroidvania in 3D. You're going back to places you couldn't go before to open this and that. You're fighting ridiculous bosses. And if you can't beat them, go level up, you know? But like, I just laugh because like I'm the target demographic for Night Rain. And I look and go, like, I know of one friend that has it, but we have enough differing times now where we wouldn't really be able to play it together often enough that I would want to spend $40. So that's why I'm out on it. I don't think it's inherently a bad game. Like, I think it's probably fine. It just, I do think it is smart now that they're going to make it 2-player. I don't know. They may have already patched it. I don't know because I don't have it, but I do think that's a smart move because like making it a 1 or 3 player game is weird. Like I don't get that idea.
Yeah, I think
I
not
don't know
100%
why
certain.
we've gone backwards. Like remember when it was like we moved from like 2-player co-op online to 4? Like I always think of going from Gears 2 to Gears 3, where it was like, okay, this is a big deal. Now it's 4-player co-op. I don't know why this generation for whatever reason we've honed in on the number 3. Like even the Warhammer game 3. Like
I don't know.
so
maybe
weird.
They feel like 3 is enough to make it through those kind of things. Personally, I don't.
I get it when you like for a co-op game. I get it when you have the right team, right people together.
Yeah.
I look at Warhammer. Like we play it every Monday. I have a blast playing that game every Monday. I think I've said it before. I think that's one of my favorite games of this console generation. Now, I think this generation has been pretty bad, but that is one game I can look at and point and go, when you are playing this game and you have enough people, it is fucking phenomenal.
It's worth it.
It is really something. And they just keep updating and adding shit to it for free. Like it does. I will say, with that being said, there is an extensive microtransaction part of that game, like a Warhammer game would be, because you want to get the colors and the stuff for your Warhammer guy. Like I get that.
Yeah.
So I know I'm sure there are people that go down that path, but I will give them credit. Like this, I don't know if I put it in the news or not, but this update's coming out this coming week where they're going to add that siege mode. Okay. That's all for free. Like you're not getting charged for that. So that, like I said, that game, I can't remember if we talked about the numbers. I want to say it sold 7 million copies, which now it makes sense why they were so quick to announce another one. So I wish that remaster they just put on Game Pass was good, but it's not. So it's your typical file save as 4K remaster from what I've seen. So it's unfortunate.
Yeah, after I think how I kind of feel about like I like Onimusha too. Like I'm glad I bought it so I could replay it like now and not.
I'll pick it up when it's on sale.
I kind of feel the same way. Like from now on, if I feel like something says remaster or like redo or anything like that, like part of me is like, nah, I just don't want to. I'm not gonna do it. I'm not just gonna put my time
for full price like that. Like I even had like this week I had for the longest time I had reserved that physical copy of The Thing that was coming out, and I at the last minute I just was like, you know what, I'm gonna cancel it and just wait and see either if it goes on sale or it hits Woot. So many random shit hits Woot for like, $10-15, and it's like I'd rather just do that. Like it's not like I'm gonna play it anytime soon. So
yeah, and that's kind of how I feel like now too, because I've been just this year, I said that I'm gonna try to limit the games I buy and like focus on stuff I really just want, and make sure I'm not just buying shit to buy shit, because that's my biggest pet peeve is like I just keep buying shit to buy shit. Like my PS4 backlog is so insane. And like
I still have to pick I bought the Switch too. I still haven't picked like the first Switch game to actually sit down and play.
See, there you go.
Because I played a little bit of Mario Kart, or I go, oh, this Fast Fusion game's pretty good. I do have Metroid in the slot, and I actually, it's funny because the other night we were flipping through YouTube and the new AVGN episode was up, which is for whatever reason it's him playing Metroid 1, 2, like Metroid 2, and Super Metroid. And she has no, like, my fiance, she didn't grow up with video games, so she only knows of stuff through me or what I've shown her or what she's played, in the decade we've been together. So she doesn't know much of anything about Metroid. So we watched that, and like, it's odd to watch an episode like that because, that guy plays shitty games, and Metroid, well, it has shitty aspects to that original one. It's not a bad game. So it's kind of funny, but she got to learn about Super Metroid, which I'm not a big Metroid person, but I was able to explain to her, like, they took this formula and that's what they changed Castlevania into, which she understands because I'm a big Castlevania fan. But I say all that to say, like, I have Metroid in the cartridge slot on my Switch too, but I have, it's Metroid Dread, I should clarify, but I have not really done much with it. So And that's just because we're in a bad time. Like I was just looking right now before we kick over. We kick over to news in a minute here, but the next time we record, I will have Tony Hawk.
Oh,
and
yeah.
I will have, that's my one like collector's edition for the year, because I have the collector's edition of 1 and 2 with the board. I had to do it naturally. So at some point my goal is to hang those boards behind me here in the office, but I will actually have that, because the big thing is if you get that version or whatever, you get it 3 days early. So I will have put my Tony Hawk time in by the time we record, because that's the one thing that will pull me away from Death Stranding. So, but I will, you know what I didn't put in here? I did play the demo. I should say that. So they put out the Foundry demo. It's great.
Yeah.
It's exactly what I want. They put the CKY song in there. I wish you could play as Bam in the demo. You can't, but that's who I will play as in the game. But I love that they put the CKY song in there. It plays exactly like you remember that level. I probably played through that level like 10 times and said, I can wait, you know? Like, I don't need to, like, I immediately deleted the demo after, because I'm like, it's out in like 2 weeks. So,
yeah.
But I did play it. It feels great. It feels exactly like you remember Tony Hawk 3. So,
oh, yeah. I was playing, I downloaded the demo too. And it was funny because my wife came walking in the room and she was like, what are you playing? And I was like, Tony Hawk, the demo. And she was like, I thought this looked like Tony Hawk. Yeah. And I was like, oh, yeah. They're just, they're coming, it's getting remastered and everything like that. And she was like, that's actually pretty cool. And I was like, yeah, I agree. It's interesting.
It's cool. I'm excited to play these new levels they made. Like this water park level looks really good. So, I will not be a bad man that tries to platinum that game though, because those get wild. But yeah. I will play the hell out of that when I get that. So
I can agree.
Do you have anything else? I don't think you had anything else. So
no, I can't think of anything else on the top of me. But since we were talking about Woot, I decided to go over there and just jump and see what they had over here.
They still have a lot of Switch stuff up, but they never have the things that I'm looking for. Like I want those Zelda Omega Force games. They never put those on there. At this point, I would probably get Pikmin to try it. I've never played a Pikmin game. I think we've talked about that. Like, even back in the day, I remember when Pikmin came out, I just never, it's like one of those games. And I was I had a GameCube day one, and I was a hard GameCube person, and I just didn't.
I love Pikmin. And ironically, that's the crazy thing is I played Pikmin 1, and I was like addicted to it. And, I think for me, it's like, it's just an interesting idea behind having to make sure you have the right type of like people going into certain things to be able to get past certain spots, and like each Pikmin does their own different thing and each one has their own different talents. But I mean, it was a lot of fun when I have it. But I was just like looking through just what they had, and one of the games I just saw on here
I'll say every time that we talk about it on the podcast and stuff, but like Woot is something people should not sleep on. I've gotten some great deals on there. Even on Nintendo stuff, like, it's, $40 instead of $60, but Nintendo stuff never goes on sale. So,
yeah. Well, I was going to say, too, Cuisiner Day 1 edition.
I bought that. So I have that.
$29.
I have that, and I have Slitterhead, which I should open at some point.
I was about to say Slitterhead is like only like, I think it was like $10.
Oh, it went down even more? Wow. I think so. They sent me the weird like Day 1 edition. It's big. Like it's like like this thick, and it has all the stuff and everything. So.
Crazy thing too is I was just looking at Slitterhead and I was like, because I remember seeing that game and I was like,
for that price, I like that's why I was like, I'll play it out of
$30. It's a Day 1 edition.
I'll play it out of morbid curiosity, but I don't think it's gonna be good. But it's on my list at some point to look at. We got to get to a drought again. The problem is the drought's over, so I have stuff to play now. Woot, like I say it all the time, like don't sleep on Woot, because they have some like really good deals on game stuff, especially like stuff that
Squirrel with a gun for $15.
It's not a bad deal.
Which is not bad. Yeah, not at all. That's what I was looking at too. I was like, damn, that's a pretty solid deal for that one.
And unless it's a Nintendo game, then this is the other thing I've learned. Like you'll get it like the next day. Anything I bought for PlayStation, I've gotten the next day. Nintendo stuff tends to take a little longer, like a couple days, but even still, It's a couple days.
Well, they got Civilization 7, the deluxe edition, for $60. That's
for which system?
PS5.
That's not bad.
Not at all.
I would rather wait till there's a complete edition because they're gonna terrorize that game.
Well, and like next year, it's gonna be like $7. That's what I bought that one. Like, what was it? I bought on Steam like a whole Civilization pack for like, I forgot what it was, but it was like Civilization 6.
Probably
and it
the
had
6
everything.
one.
Yeah, for like
the last one I played a lot of
like,
was
well, shit.
5. And the one I played the most of was the console-only Civ Revolution.
Oh, and then real quick, I did go ahead and download that Terrifier demo, and I played it.
Yeah, you played it, and you told me...
I was not a fan of that one.
It seems like a cheap cash-in.
It's a very cheap... Chris Jericho's in that game, dude.
Is he really? I didn't even get that far. Okay.
Yeah, well, he's a playable character. Like, it's the art, the girl... the little girl, and Jericho.
Okay.
They're all... That's your...
What's weird to me, and I think that's why I stopped playing it pretty quickly, at least the demo, was there's not a lot to the moves you do. And maybe it's the type of game where you can upgrade stuff. It doesn't seem like it, but... It
didn't really feel like it either.
After like the third time I shot somebody in the head, I'm like, I get it. Like,
yeah, it felt like Scott Pilgrim is just like the Terrifier version of Scott Pilgrim.
Yeah,
and I was like, nah, I'm not really a big fan of this one.
I mean, I did that collector's thing just for my fiance, but I did show her the demo. So it's only out on PC and PS5, which is weird, but it's coming out on everything. But the demo is only on those platforms. It's weird, but I don't know. Like I said, I found it to be okay, but kind of very generic. Which, considering what it's based upon, you could go a little bit harder. I feel
you could have,
and that would. I think Terrifier fans would be happy for it to be a little more hardcore.
I agree.
So,
but yeah, we can move on.
Well, we can kick over to news. The first thing I have on here, Final Fantasy 16, as you know, came out, was a shadow drop after that Xbox showcase. The sales for it on Xbox have been fucking terrible, with only 2,200 copies sold in the first week. I think the problem is, again, what is it, 3 years, 2 years, 3 years since it came out on I think it's 2 years.
Yeah.
Since it came out on PS5. And I think, unfortunately, when it comes to the Xbox side of things, you have conditioned the remaining fan base for that system to treat the machine as a Game Pass machine. So if it's not going to hit Game Pass day one, they know it's going to hit Game Pass eventually, and they're not going to pay full price for it.
Yeah, I can definitely agree with that. I just don't feel like at this point in time it's a game that you should pay for.
It runs worse than the PS5 version, which is crazy to me because the systems are basically equal. So, Borderlands 4, the standard edition price was revealed to be set at $70. They're backtracking all of Randy Pitchford's stuff. He had to come out and kind of make another half-assed apology about it, but this is no surprise. The backlash was too extreme.
Yeah.
And it's just, I don't know. Dan will be talking about that game because I have zero interest in a Borderlands 4.
Well, and I've played Borderlands, I think Borderlands 2, but it's just not something I'm super interested in.
The weird thing is I've played all those. This will be the first one that I haven't played. Well, I did not play the Tiny Tina thing, but I don't care.
Yeah.
But it's one of those where have I played all those? Yes. Do I have fond memories? Only of the original. So everything after that, I can't really speak to it.
That makes sense.
As I predicted, it has come true. Marathon has been delayed indefinitely. I feel like this is step one, and step two is it will be canceled. I don't think I still go with the prediction of I don't think this game is going to see the light of day. I think between everything that happened with Concord and the whole fiasco with the art assets for this game, on top of the live service push for Sony has not worked very well so far. We have Helldivers 2 is the one success.
Fantastic.
Fantastic
I
game. But
absolutely
again,
love that game.
Again, that's one game out of how many they've tried to pull that just haven't done it.
I just don't feel like these games are worth it anymore. Like, I was talking to somebody else the other day who, they were big into Marvel Rivals.
Yeah.
And even they've fallen off of that. And it's just like, I feel like that's the same way. Like, the games are good for a little while and then they just they fall flat and you just kind of like, meh.
Well, it's like I talked to my best friend who, like, obviously the only game that he's been waiting for is Death Stranding 2, but he doesn't have a PS5. He, bought a Series X this generation, and he's at the point now where he's like, I just don't know what else I would play on a PS5 outside of Death Stranding 2 to warrant the purchase of the system. Because the only game he really plays now is I keep wanting to say Outriders 2. It's not. It's the Overwatch. Overwatch 2. He plays that consistently, and I'm like, you're not going to switch over to playing that on the PS5 if the people you play with are on the Xbox.
Yeah.
So that's what he's trying. I mean, I will tell you the realistic part of that is he probably will just end up borrowing one of my other PS5 to play Death Stranding. That's what I feel like it's going to come down to when I'm done with it, and that's fine. But I honestly, I can't blame him. So,
well, and that's like, no offense, but when Spider-Man 2 dropped, I asked my best friend, I was like, hey, can I borrow your PS5 for like the weekend?
Yeah,
because like you've got to work all weekend, you're not going to be home. Can I just run through it real quick? And he was like, yeah, go ahead. So he brought it over and I literally ran through it, and like, it was fun, but I'm not buying it. You know?
Exactly. So it's, I don't know. There just hasn't been that push out of new original. Only I can get it on these new systems this generation, like there has been in previous. So we're still putting out PS4 games.
Still putting out PS4
in 2025,
games, which is wild.
Again, a lot of them are like indie-ish, and like, maybe it's a remaster collection of an old game that why wouldn't it run on a PS4? But still. Speaking of that, Sony is very interested in buying WB Games. WB Games is up for sale since they split the two parts of WB. I don't know if you know this. I just learned this the other day. When the Superman movie comes out in a couple weeks here, it will not have a Warner Brothers logo in front of it. It is considered a separate thing as a DC Studios film. I thought that was very interesting.
Okay, that's interesting.
Because they've split those two divisions. So Warner Brothers is looking to sell off the game division right now. So,
does that mean I could get like another fucking Lord of the Rings game that's actually going to be decent?
No, because that studio doesn't exist anymore.
Jesus, just give me a good one.
Hey man, I'm still mad about Monolith because they made me the Condemned games, and even though I was never going to get a third one, it's been almost 20 years.
Man,
I wanted a third one, so.
Bananas.
They went on to make the Lord of the Rings game, so it's not like they're going to go back. But
those Shadows games, well, the first one was fantastic.
One of the biggest disappointments in gaming was that Nemesis system never went anywhere else.
I don't understand why. I mean, I know people bitch about it, like, and they're like, "Well, it was kind of boring after like the fifth or fourth time." But number one, like, it still made it interesting to play several times. I never got
bored with it.
Yeah, like I never did either. So I was just like, what the fuck ever.
The fun of it was to see, like, especially until you killed, if you would leave one of those orcs alive, how many times you could get them to come back. Well, and that's what or missing an arm or something like.
Well, and that's what drove me bananas is when I had to kill that one orc like 6 times. And the thing that killed me is every time I ran into him, he's like, "Remember me, peasant," and I'm like, dog, I like sliced you in half. Like, why are you back? Like, how much determination do you have?
Right? Yeah.
That you are you got a tree limb for both your arms and one of your legs, and we're back at this again. And I mean, I don't know. I mean, I guess I'll just continue playing the ones that I have and just being happy with that.
I need to play through the second one, and I have it on PC, and I started, and I thought it was pretty decent. So
you know what's bananas is the second. So I went back and I rebought Shadows of War or Shadows of Mordor.
Shadows of Mordor is the first one. War is the second one.
That's what I thought. So I went back and bought Mordor for the Xbox the series. And I was like, oh, okay, you know, like I was like, all right, I remember this. This is fun. This is good. And then I went back and played Shadows of War, the second one, and I was like, this game doesn't feel or flow as good as the first one
was
does.
a little bit better.
And I was like, well, damn. And even it was funny because even my older son was sitting next to me when I played the first one. And I was like, maybe I'll throw in the second one. He was like, yeah, let's do that. Let me watch you play it. And I was like, all right. And then when I put it in, he's like, this doesn't run as good, Dad. Like, go back to the other one. And I was like, all right, yeah, I think I'll do that too. But still, that Nemesis system was so cool, man.
So
like,
cool.
But I mean,
a decade ago.
Yeah, but whatever. I guess we'll just deal. Maybe they'll buy it and do something interesting with it.
I always thought it would have been cool too because they borrowed the Batman combat to do something that Nemesis system in a Batman game. But
yeah, and I absolutely love that story. Like the main person in those games are. I like the whole
pretty
arc
solid
of his
story.
Was a good story too. Yeah, it didn't. I don't know. It made no sense, but I digress.
A couple. We'll talk about a bunch of Xbox stuff here at random, but they're working on a massive back compatibility refresh for the next system and PC, which it seems like, if rumors are true, it seems like they're going to actually give you access to digital games somehow through PC through the Play Anywhere thing, like 360 backwards compatibility and original Xbox. But again, digital. You're not going to be putting not that many people have disk drives in their PCs in 2025, but anymore, if you do, you're not going to be slapping an original Xbox disc in your PC. And but it's interesting because that gives me a little more faith that ecosystem isn't going to just die. I don't think it will just die, to be fair, but like a lot of those 360 games and stuff that are backwards compatible, I over the years repurchased digitally when they were like $2-3. So
yeah, I kind of feel the same way. Like as long as you can allow me to play them comfortably, I'm down for it. It would
be interesting to do because it'd be interesting for you to be able to mess with graphical options for 360 games.
Mm-hmm, I could see that.
That would be where I would be interested in it. So Splitgate 2 has had kind of a turbulent launch. With the whole, we talked about last time, the guy wore a Make FPS Great Again hat that upset people. But they have been hit with layoffs. The co-founders say they're not going to take salaries as they lock in to deliver the next phase of the project. I don't know. We talked about before, like Splitgate, the original Splitgate, I think was my game of the year 2021. I love that game. It's weird for me to pick a free-to-play game as my game of the year. I played so much of it. This one, well, I have played some Splitgate 2. I do think it's good, but it's not clicking with me the way the original one did. A lot of that has to do with the map design. Because they're going so far into the esports territory. And I feel like the first one, it was more of like, it's more like Halo meets Portal. And
yeah, my son said the same thing the other day. We were talking about it, and he was like, "Dad, Splitgate 2 is just not the same game as Splitgate 1."
Yeah.
And I was like, "Yeah, I've been reading stuff on it, and that's why I haven't really played any of it." He was like, "Yeah, Splitgate 1 was way better than Splitgate 2."
I do think the Battle Royale mode they have in 2 is pretty solid. I think I played 2 matches of that, but I've not like, I haven't had an itch to go back to it the way I did with the first one, where it's like, I can log in and play a couple matches like nightly. For a while I was doing that. I haven't had that itch with this one. So
that makes sense.
I don't think we talked about it last time because I think the video came out between the last time we recorded and this time, but Microsoft put out a video. I don't even think I put it in the news here, but they put out a video announcing like their partnership with AMD, working on the next Xbox, which really does seem like 2026, like next fall, they are going to launch a new system, which seems wild, but also I feel like they really want to put this generation behind them because it's been bad for them. But they said straight up in that video that one of the things Sarah Bond said was they were going to allow other storefronts on the platform for the first time, which they did. Well, they did not name them. That would mean Steam. That would mean Epic Games Store.
Yeah.
And to further prove that, the most recent update to the Xbox app on PC has now allowed for Steam integration. so you can pull in your Steam games and stuff. So very, very interesting. I think the caveat to that is it is the upgrade on Windows 11. So because I did not like, I'm on Windows 10. I haven't seen that because I'm not on Windows 11. But
yeah,
I do believe that the update's live. I've seen pictures and stuff of it now, but it does really seem like that's true. And like as we talked before, like the idea right now of buying another Xbox seems very stupid. But if you tell me I can play Steam games natively on it, that kind of has me back in a bit. So
I don't know, man. I
as
feel
long
like
as it's not $800, you know.
And that's where I feel like it's gonna go, though, because I mean, being able to now not only do like Xbox Game Pass and stuff like that, but now you're trying to integrate Steam into it. It's like it's giving you more of an option to play, to have all your focus on one handheld versus, you know, using a Steam Deck and then, you know, getting this other Xbox thing. But like,
it also really seems like more than ever this new thing is going to be a modular system, which means it's just a PC. So
yeah, like,
at that point it's like, well, I'm already planning on building a new PC next spring, so
why am I still doing this to myself right now?
Right? Like,
so
and
it's
I can also guarantee you the video card I have in this PC now will be more powerful than whatever they're putting into that. So
yeah, I feel like this is. I mean, if they're really going through what they're going through, I don't think it's necessarily going to be a bad thing. But I also just feel like if you own a PC and what you're doing is you're already playing PC-based games on it, then there's really no point in buying this unless you want something handheld, which I honestly, for the life of me, don't understand why everybody gets so excited about having so much handheld stuff. Because it's
like I even having the Switch 2 now for 3 weeks, I have not played that much of it in handheld mode.
Yeah.
So,
and like, I mean, the only reason I'm playing, you know, one of my Switches in handheld mode is because it's light, so I have no choice but to play it in
part
in
of that
handheld
is the dog likes to jump up on you when you're sitting down, and I'm afraid the dog's gonna knock the Switch out of my hand and do something stupid. So
man,
I've had to deal with that part of it where I'm like, this thing wasn't cheap.
I'd have to sell the dog.
There you go. Yeah. sorry
sorry dog, but you gotta go back.
Like we're not doing that, but yeah, it's so that's part of the reason why I haven't done too much with the Switch in handheld mode. Well, with all that with Microsoft, they're also, and this has been circulating all week, but apparently they're going to have a third, I think this will be the third round of major layoffs at Microsoft since in 18 months, I want to say is what it is. I don't know, man. It's not surprising. I like, it's so weird because there's part of me that looks at it and goes like, man, it really feels like that head guy, Satya Nadella, wants to just cut this Xbox division off completely and be done with it.
Yeah.
With the amount of layoffs that keep hitting this division. So, I don't know. We'll see what happens, but like there's been enough to that rumor where it seems like that's happening. So,
yeah.
But hey, I mean, again, maybe put these games out that you've been working on for a decade. So, and they'll actually do something. Hellblade 2 is going to hit PS5 August 12th. What I found more funny about this was when it launches, it'll have a 60 FPS mode, which should have been in the original release. They are patching all that stuff into the Xbox version. But again, as I said before, when that game came out, remember they like Microsoft loves to do this every time, and I don't understand. They will come out and they will defend until the end of time when they can't launch a game at 60. They did it with Starfield this generation. They were going to do it with Avowed, and then they delayed that game. They did it with Hellblade. Well, it's cinematic. You know, well, it's this, well, it's that. Just put it in the game day one.
Yeah, I just don't understand why in this day and age in 2025 we're still having these problems.
I don't get either. Like nobody, like I put it this way, nobody is going to be upset that the resolution is a little diminished to make that 60 frames.
Yeah.
I'm playing Death Stranding 2 right now. There are two modes, 4K 30, 1440p 60.
Yeah.
it's fine. Like having that less. Actually, I should rephrase that. I think on the base PS5, it's only 1440p. The Pro gets a little bit of a bump, but the way that game it looks incredible visually. Like one of the best looking games I've ever played. So, and I am playing on a Pro, I've seen screenshots of base PS5. So I told when we were sitting in the theater last night, I told my buddy, like, if you were to come to me now and ask me which one of these systems I should buy, I would still probably just tell you to buy a base PS5 because I don't see the value in the Pro still. So, I really shouldn't have bought one.
I don't know. I mean, I get why you did, but still part of me is like, why? Like,
but yeah. So speaking of the 60 frame, 30 frame, I'll go on a little rant here. PC Gamer, which I have found one of the original very prestigious back in the day, very prestigious magazines, is now one of the most irrelevant. This guy I cannot believe this is an article that was published that is still up. And I think it hit 39 comments before the comments were turned off. Posted this article. It's been so long since I played a 30 FPS console game. It took me a week to realize Death Stranding 2 was literally giving me headaches. This entire article, this guy fails to mention until he had to update the article later on that there are 2 modes in this game. And I will say the one thing, I'll be fair, when you start the game, it does start it in the quality mode. Most PlayStation games do that. But even still, this guy thought this was a 30 frame game and wrote an entire article going off about that and how it gave him a headache. And it's just like, homie, it's 2025. I get it. You're a PC gamer. You mostly play games on PC where you can fuck with that stuff all day. But like, to write an article and put that out without fact checking something as basic as performance mode on a PS5. The first tweet I saw when this article hit, this guy literally reposted an article on how to switch to performance modes. Like, here, I'll help you out, man. Like, the guy got blown away. So PC Gamer last couple of years had some really bad takes on things, but this is one of the worst that I've seen. Where I'm just like, it makes sense. Not like I read something like this and I go, I understand why games journalism is dying and why more and more of these places are closing shop. And more every day, I'm thankful that I did not go down that path because I originally wanted to. So, ridiculous. But
yeah, I'm reading some of the comments under this, and
it's awesome.
It's wild, man. Like,
it is awesome. Capcom had a major. I don't think people thought it would be that big of a deal, but it was bigger than expected. They had a showcase this week to not only show more Resident Evil 9, they also, I didn't write it down, but we'll talk about it. Pragmata. They actually showed the first gameplay for that game. And I'll talk about that briefly because Pragmata, I wish Dan was here because I would make him go watch this right now. Pragmata is a shooter/puzzle game. So how it works is you play as the astronaut guy, and then the little girl is an android. She rides on your back. You use her powers to hack the enemies.
Okay.
And then you shoot them. So it has like a little hacking minigame. It looks really cool. So it's something different and unique. It already looks like a very unique game. I'm very excited. Yeah. I was excited when the game was announced, but it's looking really cool. The hacking minigame reminds me of if you ever played the original BioShock when you hack stuff there. It's kind of the same type of thing. But to combine that gives kind of an interesting new game mechanic. So it looks really cool. They briefly showed that, talked about that. That's a 2026 game. But we've had a major blowout on Resident Evil 9. We know more about the story. There's the story. The reason it's Requiem, the reason we're going back to Raccoon City is they want to kind of close the gap on the story. This will be so next year is the 30th anniversary of Resident Evil as a franchise. And this game is set 30 years after the events of Resident Evil 2 when that bomb went off in Raccoon City. They do. I think it's funny because in the video, they do mention why Leon is not the star of this game because they wanted a protagonist that can still get scared of things. Whereas like Leon, like any of those seasoned Resident Evil veterans, probably not could be scared of shit at this point.
That makes sense. I'm not gonna lie, that makes a lot of sense now when you're thinking about that.
Does.
Like, yeah,
I still think because they're making this game kind of closing the loop, and because they're celebrating 30 years, I don't think it's just Leon. I think you're going to see all of these characters in this game at some point. And I think that's part of it because it's a 30-year celebration. That's my prediction. And they're keeping all of that really close. The other thing that they announced officially, and they did show footage, it is fully playable third or first person.
Okay.
So you can change between third and first person.
I'm down for that.
On the fly. And that's really awesome. I wanted it. I mean, I'm on the side of I wanted to be third person, but having the option to do either is fantastic. The game looks awesome. So like the footage they showed again, like the smartest thing they ever did was to go offline for 5 years, create this re-engine and make these games. So it's looking great. But I like the article they put out that they are going to the reason Leon's not, one of the protagonists. Yeah. I just think that was funny because like it's a very true statement. That dude's not gonna be scared of anything.
Oh God, no! I can only imagine, him walking down the hallway and the dog jumping through the window and him just being like, "Yeah, that seems about right."
Well, the other thing that they talked about is like they wanted to tie in other parts of the franchise that aren't mainline, which is why they're picking the daughter of this character from Outbreak.
That makes sense
to kind of bring everything in, which is cool. So, I also feel like at the end of that thing, when they talk about, hey, we're celebrating 30 years of Resident Evil next year, that there's something else besides Requiem. Like, I don't know if that means they're going to go back and remake the original Resident Evil in these styles over the shoulder, or if they're going to finally just do Code Veronica like I would like. But I feel like that's also on the table. We're just not seeing it yet. So, because the whole focus is this game. It's next February, end of February next year, so it's not that far off. It's
as of right now, there's 3 games that are on my list for next year, and it's mind-boggling for that.
It's weird to me that like I have more games now that I'm excited about that are next year than this year.
Yeah,
right.
I mean,
like,
for real.
I'm excited about Pragmata. I'm excited about Resident Evil. Not probably be the highest on my list.
Yeah.
I mean, if Microsoft can deliver Fable next year, and my excitement wanes on Halo if it is going to be a remake of the original. But if they can give me Fable next year and whatever this new Forza, I would assume it'd be a Horizon game. That's where I would be excited. That's cool. Yeah. So
I'm just waiting on Onimusha. I'll be all right game once that comes out.
Great too. So I feel like that's probably after Resident Evil, but I feel like that's probably like May, June. That's what I'm thinking for that game.
I want to say I think it is. I think if I remember seeing something, I think it said May of next year, which that I'm cool sense. With. Like, that's perfectly fine.
They want to space those out enough. So
yeah.
But game recommendation this week. I don't know if you picked anything. I actually not only picked it, I brought it in here.
Look at you.
It is the original Death Stranding. Now I will say the original Death Stranding I bought on PS4. If you have a PS4 copy, you can do that upgrade for the PS5 one, which is the director's cut, which I think it's like $10 to do that, or
that's not bad.
That director's cut is on sale all the time. And it's also important to note this game is also on Xbox these days. So if you are an Xbox player, you can play it there. If you're on PC, you can play it there, but I mean, if you haven't played the original Death Stranding and want to know what's going on for this new one, highly recommend it. You can get like even putting the story elements aside of that game, you can really get lost in just doing the delivery stuff. Like, it's shockingly addicting.
Well, I mean, right now it's actually on sale.
Steam sale. I was gonna say it's probably like $15.
Yeah, $15.
Not a bad deal.
Yep, not bad.
Only thing that's a bummer, in my opinion, between the original version and the director's cut is they don't have the Monster Energy branding anymore for the drinks. They had to remove that for licensing because that was a big thing about that game when it came out.
Okay.
He drinks Monster Energy for whatever fucking reason. Now it's
like
just
that
generic.
It's like that Nicolas Cage fucking what was that movie where he was like always had the break and he was just drinking those energy drinks?
Oh, Willy's Wonderland. It's a great
There you
movie.
go. Yeah, fucking
fantastic.
fantastic.
I would say the real Five Nights at Freddy's movie, because the Five Nights at Freddy's movie,
Awesome.
I didn't hate it, but like Willy's Wonderland did it so much better. So
yeah, I wasn't necessarily mad at the Five Nights at Freddy movie, but it was also like
saw the trailer for the sequel last night. So
yeah,
weird that that's not until December. Like I couldn't push that up 2 months. Like
I don't understand, but you know what? I'm not here to do anything like that. So
not my job.
Yeah, I don't get paid for doing it.
What do you have something you want to recommend?
Yeah, Astrobot.
Okay.
I can't remember if I've said that before, but
I don't think you picked it.
Yeah, my youngest is still in the Astrobot kick. Like he keeps, it's frustrating because he keeps deleting his game and restarting it. But I was playing it again this week for him and just helping him out, kind of clean up some stuff. And I was like, man, this game is just a lot of fun. And I really don't understand why Sony isn't pushing more into the Astrobot world. Like, he's number one, he's super cute. Number two, everything thrown back in that game is fun. Like it's just nice and kind of cool to have like a random ass platformer. It's like Astrobot is what I wanted Sackboy to be, that he wasn't.
Yeah, I remember when that came out and it was disappointing.
And which is crazy because I loved Little Big World. Like I really enjoyed those games.
It's weird that they couldn't do the Sony mascot thing with Sackboy. They had to make another character, with Astrobot, but
and he's not really any different.
Not really.
Like they both wear the costumes. They both kind of run around collecting things. It's just Astrobot, I think, just has a more kiddish design to him.
Yeah,
and that's why people gravitate to him. Honestly, so it's like, yeah, I don't get it, but I mean, if you haven't played it by now, pick it up, play Astrobot.
Great
I think kids and parents love it. So I mean,
even if you're an adult and you loved Mario back in the day, or like we can throw Mario 64 out there, even if you want to trash the 64. Like Mario, like it's very much a great 3D platformer in an era where we're not really getting those. Like Microsoft kind of tried to do that with Super Lucky's Tale, but it didn't. Like it was okay.
It was all right.
This is a little bit more like, first of all, visually it looks incredible.
Yeah.
But secondly, like it's a very good celebration of the history of PlayStation.
Oh yeah, I've absolutely loved like going through and like picking, like getting the little niches of the characters that they have, and like putting together the spaceships and stuff like that. Yeah. So I mean, like, pick it up. It's fantastic. I think it's a great game.
We can kick over to movies.
Yeah, go ahead.
Well, I'm itching to talk about it.
Talk about it, bud.
Megan 2 came out. I have the popcorn bucket. I couldn't resist it. I also, because of the theater that I go to, they have these Regal theaters do these kind of cups with these little figures that sit on the chairs. So I got the Megan. It came in the pack, so I have that. So now I have a Deadpool, and there's one other one we have. But I wanted that bucket, and I think the combo pack for that is $25. The funny thing is, we barely ate any of the popcorn because we just ate dinner. So it was kind of like, well, I really want the stupid popcorn bucket though. I'd rather have. This is what I'll say about popcorn buckets. I'd rather have something like this. It looks cool, and I kind of like that it has the design on the inside. You can kind of see. Than these, like, here's the fucking car that doesn't really fit popcorn. Yeah. So,
hey, I'm in the same boat as you. Like, I really like popcorn buckets that legitimately are popcorn buckets. Mm-hmm. Like, I can literally put popcorn in it. I can enjoy it, scooping my hand out. Like, I think like the Lilo and Stitch one was cute, and like the Ghostbusters one was cool. Part of me is also like, just give me the bucket itself with like cool designs on it and stuff like that.
This
like,
one
I'd be down for that.
Not as big, and I kind of wish it had the closing top like the other two we have, because we have a Ghostbusters one and the Deadpool one. Yeah. But I wish this one had that, but it doesn't. But I'm hoping they have something Superman related like this when we go to Superman, because I will buy that too. But Megan 2. So I loved it. It the funny thing is the minute that synopsis came out like earlier this year and I read it was just like, this is the most fucking insane thing. Like that they're changing from the original. I don't know if this is going to work. And then the trailer hit and every part of it like worked perfectly for me.
Dude, yeah.
It's been the movie that I've been the most excited to see, like more than Superman, which is crazy for me. I'm happy to say, like, I enjoyed every minute. It's a fantastic movie from beginning to end. My fiance, who has not seen the original Megan, was able to watch it without any problem. They do a little bit of a recap at the beginning, and then they do one thing that ties back to the original that I forgot about until they showed it, and then I was like, oh yeah, that's right, that happened. Obviously, it borrows heavily from Terminator 2 in terms of the idea, but it also borrows from RoboCop. In the way that, like, you know how the original RoboCop, there's a lot of satire around, like, the news, like how they have the news stories and stuff going on. There's a lot of that in this, and the whole movie has this element of, like, an anti-AI message that kind of just, it does kind of eye-rollingly turn into, well, we should get along with AI at the end, but not let it become too powerful.
Yeah.
But it does have that kind of message going for it. It's just a lot of fun. And turning Megan in from like being a horror character to just being like a sassy, quippy AI robot character is fantastic.
I think that's a smart move.
She's very
don't
funny.
Get me wrong. I feel like the first movie did a great job with the horror aspect of her, but I don't need a new Chucky. Yeah.
No, that's the thing. It's like, I don't need her to be Chucky either, even though like they did tease at one point, like maybe they'll do a Chucky versus her thing, but which if you want to do that, fine. But I liked where this went there. I mean, it's over the top, but I will say, like, well, when you watch the trailer and you read the original idea, I thought it was going to be like too far over the top from like, hey, we're going from like Fast and the Furious 1 to 10. It's not that crazy as you would think. Like, it does kind of keep it pretty straight, but it is more of a comedy than it is action. It's more action comedy. There are a couple horror elements, I guess, in it. Like, there are some scenes of gore that are kind of like, oh, okay, like they're like that new robot Amelia or whatever that she's going after. Like, they don't show it, but they show the shadow of it. But like, she punches a dude's fucking head off. It's just, you see going boom, and then like a blood splatter on the wall, stuff like that. But it's never like too crazy. There is a thing with a severed arm at one point that, like, I don't know. Some people might be a little wincy on that. I don't think it was that bad.
Gotcha.
But overall, it's just fun from beginning to end. I'll also say, like, there's a lot less of this movie that has Megan in the robot body. A lot of the movie, she is an AI just doing stuff for them. So the way that they kind of bring her back into it is very well done.
Gotcha.
So, and there is also, I will say, like, there is also a twist at the end with who the villain is. That I didn't see coming. Like, I knew there was going to be a twist, but I didn't know it was going to be this specific person. I thought it'd be someone else. So it kind of threw me off a little bit, which I always give props when that happens.
Yeah.
But I can see other people might pick that up pretty quickly. So I'm curious to see how well it does. I know the first one did shockingly well, which is why we got a sequel, but it's different enough where I can see some people being like, I'm not interested in what they turn this into. So I think it might be a little divisive, but I'm interested. I hope it does well. I would like to see another Megan. So, and this was a lot of fun. Like, even like I said, my fiance who's not seen the first one walked out and had a very good time with it. The only negative thing I would say is, like, if you find Allison Williams' character kind of insufferable in the original, it's cranked to 10 in this one. There's just sometimes where it's just like, man, lady, like, take a chill pill with some of the stuff. But I loved it. It's an 8 out of 10 for me. Really, really had a fun time with it. We'll probably watch it again when it's up on digital right away. I will buy a 4K of it. So I own the first one. Highly recommended. So now we just the wait for Superman. I did want to talk to you. I didn't put it on here, but I did want to talk about weapons.
Oh
Because
yeah,
I have
yeah.
so the new trailer for that movie dropped. I don't know if I'll go to the theater or if I'll wait to see it digitally. That is one of my other most anticipated movies, I think, of the year. But what I was telling you, and this is what I think watching the trailer, now I've seen it a couple times. I think they're showing it as I think they're trying to divert expectations with this trailer, and I think they're trying to get people to think it's a supernatural thing, and I don't think it's that. I mean, first of all, the movie's called Weapons, right? But I think it's a Project MK Ultra thing with these kids. That's what I think it is.
Okay.
And I think the kids are being used as weapons, and they're going to start attacking the adults. That's why you see that one scene of
that makes
the
sense.
Asian guy that's like running with blood all over his face, right? I think that's what it's going to be. They're just not showing the kids do anything in the trailer because you really can't. Like in a trailer, that also would give a major part of that movie away. But that's my prediction. I think think of like Children of the Corn if it was a government conspiracy instead of supernatural. That's what I think it is. So
that's where I was kind of leaning towards too, honestly, watching it. But my biggest question is, how did they get there? Like, I can understand if it was all the kids in this town, but it's just the one lady's class that is doing it.
Yeah.
So that's what really sparks me, because I'm like, man, that. And
I do think the woman has no idea. I don't think she's done anything.
And that's
wrong.
the interesting thing about it. Like, she's just as confused as me right now and knowing what the fuck is happening.
It's a wild premise that, like, I just really hope it sticks to landing, because I think the premise is so intriguing. So
yeah, I'm down. I mean, I'm feel the same way you are. Like, I think so. Either I plan on, because I showed my wife that trailer, like, and she was like, "This is interesting. Do we know what it's about?" I said, "Honestly, I have no idea what's happening in this movie. I don't know what it's about.
Yeah.
So I can't tell you if it's like what it really is going to be." So like, I was like, if you want to go watch it, we can. If it's too much for you, it's cool. I'll wait until it's out and I'll watch it by myself. But like, if she wants to go watch it, then I think I'm going to use my free passes I have to go see it.
There you go.
Because I would like to go see it, but then I'm also in the same boat where
I know it'll be up in 2 weeks. Yeah, that's the thing. It's like, I know it'll be up in 2 weeks.
Yeah, well, no, not Fantastic Four. The one Conjuring.
Oh yeah, that's not until September, but yeah.
Yeah, I think that's the only real movie I'm really looking forward to. Like, I do want to see Fantastic Four. I think it looks interesting, but I'm also in the boat where
they put out too many trailers now.
They've put out too much. My
I didn't even see the most
is
recent
one. Yeah, and then like Superman. Like, I do want to kind of see what James Gunn is going to do with Superman, but then I'm also not a Superman person. So then it's like, I'll just wait. And then like I don't really have like I think the niche to go see superhero movies now is gone for me.
Yeah, I can see
and
that.
I'm just not like into it until I think, what is it, Doomsday?
Yeah, but now we're so far from that. I mean, I'm excited for that. So we will get that Spider-Man movie before Doomsday. That's the only other Marvel, and I'm excited for that. Now, I didn't mention that, but like now being like, hey, we're gonna put John Bernthal Punisher in this. That seems fucking crazy.
Like,
but I'm so in on that.
That did pique me on that.
That piqued me on, like, all right, that's not who I thought you were gonna team him up with, but like, how is that gonna work?
Hey, I'm down. You know, and speaking of, I need to go back and finish the Punisher series too, because I started that and I just haven't finished it.
Yeah, like my fiance was talking the other day because she really wants to go to the drive-in theater at some point this summer, and I asked her because I'm like, well, obviously we already have tickets to see Superman, but I told her, like, if it's good, I would sit through it again. But here are your choices for the other movie. It's either Jurassic World or Fantastic Four. And she would rather sit through Jurassic World. And the funny thing is, because I'm nostalgic for Jurassic Park, because that's where I saw it as a kid for the first time, was the same drive-in theater. I was like, I know it's going to be bad. All the early reviews have been bad, but I would probably sit through Jurassic World. So, because I have that morbid curiosity, and I like the nostalgia of going to the drive-in to see it. So, because it will be insanely busy. So
I can agree.
but I know that movie is gonna be bad. So
Yeah.
Fantastic Four, I'll say my problem with that movie is like we've gone down the path of you've shown so much of it that it has made me less interested now. Where it's like I was originally excited that first trailer. I was like, okay, this is going the direction I would like it to. Now there are 4 fucking trailers for this movie. It's like,
and I get it. I'm
it's
done.
Like Marvel needs this to be a hit this year because their other 2 movies bombed. Ironheart is not doing very well. I get it, but I don't need 4 trailers for this movie. Like insane.
Yeah.
Other stuff that I've watched. I have not watched any of this new season of The Bear. We're gonna watch that on Saturday, so I'll talk about it next week. I'm very excited to watch it.
Okay.
I watched, and I wish Dan was here because the other night we were playing Warhammer, and he brought up a movie I'd never even heard of as a kid, and it's on Tubi. That's where I watched it. A John Ritter movie from 1992 called Stay Tuned. I've never heard of this. I never heard of this movie as a kid, partially because it deals with the devil. That would be why I would have seen it as a kid, growing up in a religious house. But it is John Ritter. He works in he's a family man. He is obsessed with watching TV, and he basically makes a deal with the devil to get a new TV with this like crazy wacky satellite dish, and then gets sucked into the satellite dish, basically in a version of hell where he is stuck in different parodies of TV shows from the time. And the whole point is he has 24 hours for him and his wife to get out of it. If he doesn't get out of it, then he's stuck in hell forever. It's pretty wild. Okay. It's worth watching. I enjoyed it. It's on Tubi. It's an hour and a half. It's a quick watch.
I'll put that in my list now.
I enjoyed it. It's I never heard, like I said, as a kid, I never heard of it. It reminds me, it's kind of wacky in a way that it reminds me of Beetlejuice, in terms of like special effects and stuff. Especially there's one whole part of that where he and his wife are animated like in a Tom and Jerry type cartoon.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a very good, very wild movie that it's from the 90s that I just never even heard of as a kid. So very much worth watching.
It's only up for one more day.
Is it really? Get to watch it then.
Leaving in 4 days. My apologies. Okay. I got 4 days to watch it.
It was kind of thing where I was like, I could go get this, but I guess I'll watch it on Tubi.
I mean, why not? It's already there.
Yeah. So the only other thing that I watched, I don't know why. I don't know what drove me to watch this the other day, because I was going to watch the new Final Destination. And then for whatever reason, I decided to watch Road Trip for the first time in 25 years. I realized I didn't put that together until I started the movie and was like, boy, when did this movie come out? Because I really feel like I was in like 8th grade, because I remember having a friend sneak renting it and watching it in the basement. Because I mean, it was, it's one of those movies.
Raunchy movie.
8th grade, yeah. 25 years, 2000.
Damn, that's crazy.
There are I will say it holds up better than some of the other sex comedies of that era, but at the same time, every single scene involving Tom Green does not hold up at all.
Oh God,
it is just like, well, there are certain things Tom Green did in his run that I think are funny. Like, I'll forever think the Undercutter's pizza thing is hilarious because it was such a stupid idea.
Mm-hmm.
Every scene with him in this movie is just the most cringe-inducing thing now, going back, being almost 40 years old, but like, holy shit. Just like his whole plot line is these people, like, you've seen Road Trip, right? You know the plot. Yeah. Okay. His whole purpose is he has to watch the one guy's room and feed the snake. He's obsessed with feeding the snake. It's the whole point of his character in this movie. It's just, I want to feed this snake this mouse, and the snake only eats once a week.
Mm-hmm.
It is
because he puts it in his mouth.
He puts it in his mouth at one point. Yeah, it's just, it is like, there's even a part where he sings a song making different animal noises, or it's just like, maybe I thought this was funny 25 years ago.
Man.
It is horrible. It's just, it's weird to me, the things that you can go back now and be like, I don't know how I thought this was funny. Whereas like, I sat and watched that Happy Gilmore 2 trailer and laughed the entire thing. It was like, I cannot wait to watch that. So
yeah,
I don't know.
It's weird.
Gosh,
I can agree with you though.
Did you see they're doing a Subway promotion for Happy Gilmore 2?
No, I did not.
I had to explain that to my fiance the other day because I was like, "Do you not remember?" She's not. Again, she grew up almost. She basically almost grew up as a homeschooled kid until a certain grade. So like, they didn't watch a lot of TV at that time and stuff. So like, there are certain things I'm like, boy, we need to rewatch the first one so you can get the full effect. But yeah, I thought they have different collectors of cups. I think it starts July 10th. And then they're doing like a promotion with some sandwiches. So I was like, yeah, that makes sense. He would still have that Subway for Life card, I hope.
Yeah, I agree.
So that pretty much covers what I've watched. Like I said, next time we record, the big thing I'll be able to talk about is Superman. So
yeah. Well, that'd be good.
I'll be excited.
So starting off with me, I watched this Netflix show called Time Cut.
Okay.
It's a movie. What came out in 2024. It's a sci-fi slasher film.
Okay.
Essentially, the story is this girl.
I remember this one.
Yeah, so this girl has an older sister who died back in the 90s. Or I'm sorry, back in the 2000s. And she never knew her sister, but her parents still mourn for her sister.
Okay.
They go to visit her gravesite. This girl stumbles upon a fucking random time machine that's there and ends up going back essentially to like the week her sister dies.
Okay.
And she finds out that her parents really only had her because her sister passed away, and had her sister never passed away, they would have never had her. So like, she meets this guy who then she trusts to tell him, I'm from the future, and she shows him her iPhone to show like she is from the future and stuff like that. And so he's explaining to her the idea behind time travel, and like, you can't really mess with stuff. You kind of have to let stuff play in order for like, nothing to be broken. Like you can't just do what you want and not have any consequences in the future. It's not that great of a movie. It really isn't, because like essentially the girl has to make the decision whether or not she lets her older sister die or she tries to save her. Well, she ends up saving her.
Okay.
But then the crazy thing is, so then she goes back to her future just to find out that her parents, they never had her because her sister lived. So she then ends up time traveling back to the past and then just ends up staying in the past.
Doesn't make sense.
It doesn't make sense.
That doesn't make sense at all. Like, how would she... That doesn't make logical sense, because how would she be able to be alive if she was never born?
Right. Yeah. And so the crazy thing is, like, so her sister and her at the end are like best friends, and she's essentially living with her sister, and it's
so
like
weird.
How do you explain
it wouldn't
this?
Work. Yeah, like it wouldn't work that way.
Yeah,
scientifically, like.
And then and one of the things, like the guy who ends up being the killer is the guy that she befriends when the guy who she tells she's a time traveler.
Okay.
Yeah. So he ends up being the killer. So then she ends up killing him.
Okay.
But then, she killed future him, but past him is still okay. So it's just like,
okay.
It's kind of like it for me. Essentially, it like spits on the idea behind time travel, and like, like you're always told you can't do anything. Like if you time travel to the future or to the past, you can't disrupt the timeline because things will happen. But this one just pretty much says, "Fuck it, we're gonna do whatever we want."
Yeah, and that's whenever they fuck with the rules of time traveling too much, it automatically makes me not interested. So
yeah, so it was not that great. Okay. I give this movie like a 3 out of 10. It was not good at all.
Fair enough.
And then I stumbled upon this movie called Possession.
Okay. Older, newer.
This was a bad movie too.
Okay.
It came out in, I think it was I want to say it was a 2021 movie.
Okay.
hold on, let me 2024. Was it a 2025?
Is it a streaming movie? Was it a
No, I found it on that app I use to watch things. It it was weird. So like essentially what happens, 2024 is when it came out. So what's going on is this father and son end up purchasing a storage facility.
Okay.
In like this random little town. And the reason they do it is so that they can kind of start all over, because his wife and the kid's mother passes away. So they're just trying to like kind of leave where they were and just kind of start off fresh.
Fair enough.
Well, essentially they buy this storage unit, and this storage unit is where apparently the local church has been doing exorcisms.
Okay.
So the church has rented a storage unit where they take, people that are possessed, and they essentially try to exorcise them there.
Let's go in a different direction.
Weird, because the kid becomes possessed, but it doesn't really, like, it kind of rushes his possession in a way.
Okay, it's called Possessions.
Oh, yeah, Possessions.
2024.
Yeah. And it kind of rushes his, and it's a bad movie. Just don't waste your time.
It's rated a 3.8 on IMDb.
Yeah, that's generous.
Okay.
Because it is not even worth that. It's
fair.
I'd give it like a 1.5 because it wasn't great. The acting was really kind of poor.
Okay.
And just like the whole plot line of the movie was just kind of scattered and didn't really, like I said, by the time he became possessed, it was kind of like, it didn't really make a lot of sense.
Yeah.
So just don't waste your time.
Fair.
Yeah, don't waste your time on that one. Also watched Tom Clancy's Without Remorse.
Gosh.
That has what is it, Michael B. Jordan in it? Okay. And
that was a Netflix thing, wasn't it?
Yeah, I believe so. No, Prime. It was a Prime thing.
Okay.
It wasn't that great, which is kind of shocking because like I really like him. So that's the only reason I started watching it, but it just kind of like the whole story kind of fell flat for me. It's like a 5. It wasn't it like the action scene was decent in it, but it just wasn't that great. Like overall, it kind of fell flat. Didn't really pique my interest. I was in my phone most of it, and then I kind of dozed off at one point and woke up, and I still kind of understood what was happening. So I was just kind of like, yeah, we're just gonna let this run.
That happened to me. I never put it down, but maybe in the last time we recorded, I decided to try and watch Jurassic Park Dominion or World Dominion, whatever. And that was the same reaction I had. I was on my phone for half, and the other half I fell asleep, and it was just like, this movie.
And when you woke up, I was like, oh yeah, I know what happened. It makes sense.
This movie sucked.
Yeah. And then so the other movie I watched was a Netflix special, Hillbilly Elegy.
The JD Vance movie?
Yeah.
Okay. I've seen it.
Not bad.
Really
it was actually
good movie. Yeah.
It was really solid. The only thing I will say that I am kind of disappointed in was I really felt like they could have pushed more for him and his grandma. Like a bigger story with them two.
Yeah.
I feel like well, yes, it was more about his mother and, what she did and how he, kind of got himself out of it. I feel like there could have been more with him and his grandma that kind of could have developed better the storyline in itself.
No, I agree with that too.
And
kind of
that's
jumps
the whole reason
around a little bit too.
Yeah, and that's the whole reason I watched it to begin with, because I was like, I saw like a clip between him and his grandmother.
Okay.
And I was like, okay, that looks interesting. And then like I watched it and I was kind of like, like I just based off of the clip, I would have assumed that there would have been more of a story with them in it than like kind of like the 15-minute they kind of like just kind of like pushed into it.
Yeah, like it made me have more respect for the guy. Knowing what he came from. I didn't know anything about this dude until it was like, oh, he's going to be the vice president candidate. I'm like, who is this guy? And then I think it was like my parents or something said like, oh, that's that Hillbilly Elegy movie on Netflix, because this movie came out in like 2020. Like they did this way before this dude was even like thinking about running, you know.
Yeah,
so
it's been a hot minute. So I mean,
it's been on Netflix for a while, and I remember when it came out because I want to say somebody, and maybe Amy Adams got nominated or somebody got nominated for it.
And I mean, she did really well. Like,
she did
very good
Amy
in
Adams
this movie.
camp, so I'll watch anything she's in. But
yeah,
it had escaped me, and I did not realize at the time that that was who that movie was about.
And honestly, I didn't either. Like until I watched it, and then I kind of looked on it afterwards, and I was like, "Oh,
that's interesting."
Okay.
Yeah, so
not what I thought.
No, yeah. So it's a very good movie. It'll give you an interesting perspective on that person for sure.
Yeah.
Not to go down the political path because we're not a political podcast, but
yeah.
I enjoyed that movie a lot. And
I mean, the movie was solid. Him as a person, he's shit. But I mean, you know,
that's politics today.
Yeah, like you can't. It's hard. But yeah. And then I did watch Ironheart.
How much have you seen?
I've seen all 3 episodes.
Okay. Do you know anything about where it's going or who the main bad guy actually is? I know the whole thing about it, so
yeah.
Okay.
So, and let me preface this by saying I don't know anything about this character. Like, I went in kind of dark, because I didn't look up anything. I didn't read anything. I didn't even look at the backstory for Ironheart in general. I just turned it on, just because I saw who one of the people were. The guy who plays the Hood, I forgot his name.
He was in the Twisters movie.
Yeah,
and he's very good in that.
Well, and
he was hanging out with Superman.
Anthony Ramos.
Yeah, he's a pretty good actor.
So the reason that I watched it is because I watched him in Into the Heights, and I really enjoyed that movie. With him, and that's why I turned it on. I specifically just for him to see what he was doing, and honestly, I kind of enjoy it.
Okay,
like it's
sat on the shelf for 2.5 years.
It's not horrible.
Okay.
Like, and maybe that's just me. Maybe because I don't know the backstory to Ironheart, and I haven't followed the story like comic wise, so I can't really say whether or not it follows that or does or doesn't, and like how closely it does.
Yeah, when you get into Marvel territory, I couldn't tell you.
I can just say from what I've seen of it, it's a good show. Like I watched all 3 episodes, and I was invested in all 3 episodes.
Fair.
I still don't know, and after I watched all 3 of them, I had to I Googled Ironheart, and then I Googled the Hood, just to kind of catch up on
you probably found out, oh, this is leading to something else. Okay.
Yeah. So, I mean,
I know the whole 6-episode thing because I watched. One of the channels I watch on YouTube, they reviewed the entire thing, so they saw the whole thing. So,
dope. Okay,
so I know the whole 6 episodes because I think this coming week they're going to put the other 3 episodes up because it's only a 2-week thing. So
yeah, and I mean I'll watch the other 3 because, like I said, I enjoyed the other 3 episodes. So I mean, it kind of. Well, I will say this. So since I went in dark and I didn't know any of the story behind Ironheart, it has actually piqued my interest to look further into it.
Fair enough.
Now,
okay.
So I'm kind of like I enjoy moments like that where Marvel gives me kind of like one-offs of like things that I still don't know about.
Yeah,
and I can actually watch it because, like, I mean, someone like Dan. I know he probably understands more of it than I do.
Well, he's the Marvel guy. I'm the DC person.
And I know he probably doesn't like it.
I don't know what his thoughts are, honestly. We'll have to ask if Ironheart's even something. Next time. I have no idea. I haven't even asked him about Ironheart. I've sent him some memes on it, but
yeah,
I sent him memes on everything.
It's just kind of like one of those things where it's like I can understand if people don't like it because, you know, they know the backstory behind it and things like that. But if you've never heard of her character and you've never read anything on her character, I say give it a watch because it was enjoyable for me again as somebody who hasn't and who doesn't know anything on the character Ironheart. So that's my take on it. If you want to give it an opportunity. So I watched a lot of dumb, bad stuff, and then I watched some decent stuff.
So if you watch the J.D. Vance movie, you're gonna watch the Trump one next?
No.
The Apprentice.
No.
I will say, not a terrible movie, but
yeah, I've heard that before.
The backstory there is interesting, and that guy does a really good job of playing him.
Yeah,
but I could understand. Like it seemed as like I totally understand why someone would not want to watch that movie. So I get it.
And to be honest with you, I went into Hillbilly Elgie like I didn't know that's who that was about.
Okay, that would make it more interesting. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, so I honestly
see. I was in a different boat where I watched that movie, and then there was a brief period of time where I was like, okay, maybe this guy will be okay. And then there's been enough that has happened in the last 6 months where I'm like, no, I guess not.
Nope.
We're like, no, I guess that's not the guy. You know. So
well, and that's the thing. Like I said,
yeah,
I saw it and I didn't know who it was on, and like I literally went in because I saw the clip on
backstory. Yeah.
Yeah, I saw the clip on TikTok, and I was like, that's an interesting idea of the movie, and that's what I went in to watch. And it wasn't until after like the credits rolled. Because
I don't think they really like. I mean, obviously he's called JD in the movie, but I don't think they mention the last name during the movie very often. So
it is like a couple of times, but
you don't put it together if you're not.
I didn't put
paying
two
attention.
and two together until, like I said, until the end, and I was like, oh.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's what just made me go. I was like, oh, all right. Well, for the movie itself, it's a good movie.
It's a very good movie.
Yeah,
really.
Anyways,
one of the better Netflix movies.
Yeah.
So we can kick over to emails. Our first email comes to us from Grant from Manhattan, New York. Howdy, guys. You guys have been extremely on point with all your criticism on Xbox lately, and while I 100% agree with you on them, the one thing I keep bringing up is the absolute banger of a year Game Pass has had. Avowed, Clair Obscur, Doom the Dark Ages, and soon Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 3 and 4 will hit the service. I feel like it's fired off a great game at least each month for the first time this generation, which has made it an absolutely essential service. It can't be understated how great this has all been. My question to you guys is, can they maintain this for the rest of the year into 2026? We already know the plan in 2026 is to celebrate the 25th anniversary of the brand with Gears E-Day, a new Forza, Halo, and Fable. I know it's best not to get your hopes up with Xbox, but it would be awesome to see them deliver on this promise next year. I can agree to an extent. Like they've had a very good year with Game Pass. That's the one thing.
Yeah.
Where like it does seem like each month it's like, okay, there's something I'm interested in playing. Playing like Avowed. I thought was, even though I bounced off it pretty quickly, I do think that game was pretty solid. I have not played Clair Obscur yet, so I can't speak to it, but I know that it's a good game. Doom was very good. Like they've been able to build up a solid library this year in a way that they haven't. I mean, they actually kind of led into the year with Indiana Jones. So
that's kind of how I feel too. Like I really, while I'm not going to say they've had like the best time, I will say that
it's the
this
best
year
they've had with Game Pass. I can actually make that argument.
I can definitely agree with it. And like I said, I played, 10 minutes of Doom the Dark Ages, realized it was more Doom and it's not really for me. So I just
if you're not a Doom fan, it's not going to change.
But then along with that, like just being able to play games that have piqued my interest and then I've decided aren't for me. Like,
yeah,
I was looking at it a second ago, and I actually did I forgot to say that I did play a little bit of Crime Scene Cleaner on Game Pass.
Yeah, I have that game on Steam.
I'm not a big fan of it.
No, I can see, like, that is very much a game that, like, you're either going to be really into it or you're going to be out.
Yeah, and I'm out. I played it for a little while, and I was like, this is just not for me. So then I put it away.
Understand.
But, like, even in something like that, where I've had that game on my Steam wish list, and I was actually literally going to buy it, and then I saw it was coming to Game Pass, and then I said, you know what? Let me just wait until it comes to Game Pass. I'll give it a shot. If I like it, then I'll buy it, and if I don't like it, then I don't have to worry about it. So I will say that this Game Pass season per se has been a good one.
That's a good way to put it.
Yeah, and has allowed me the opportunity to like test stuff out that I'm not 100% certain if I was on board with.
Yeah.
So I think I will agree that it has been good. Are they going to be able to maintain that? I don't know.
I don't know.
I really don't. I feel like Tony Hawk's Pro Skater, while yes, it's cool that it's going to, come into Game Pass, it's also one of those things where it's like, if you play Tony Hawk, you're going to like those games. Like,
yeah, like I might. I mean, I want that collector's edition, but I'm buying it. But I'm getting it on PlayStation because that's where I play Tony Hawk. So
exactly. So it's like, while yeah, those games are cool, we really just have to kind of see what else they're leading into to actually be good. Like I've heard great things about Claire Obscure. You're the only person I know that has talked to me about Doom. And
I'm a big Doom person, though. So
yeah, and so I mean that's you. You know what I mean?
And that's the thing. It's like and the easiest way to describe it is like if you've not a Doom fan in the past, this one is not going to win you over. So
yeah, and I mean even like earlier I was talking about with FBC Firebreak.
Yeah.
Not a game I would have played. Not a game I would have bought, but because it's on Game Pass, I'm playing it, and I'm not. There's nothing against it. Like I'm not necessarily mad about it, but I'm also like, I mean, it's not. It's fun, but it's a Game Pass game, which means I can delete it at the end of the month and not feel bad. You know what I'm saying?
It's funny because like I've had the last time I did the Game Pass thing was when you could still stack stuff. So I've been on this 3-year since October 2022. So my subscription is coming up in October, where I'm gonna for the first time have to re-up it either by just paying for it monthly or looking for a deal to extend it.
Yeah.
And like I would say up until this year, like every time I've thought about it, I'm like, maybe I just let it lapse because it's been kind of whatever, but they finally hit a stride where it's like, okay, there's at least something very good hitting. And unless it's something that I absolutely want to, like Claire Obscure was one where like when I originally saw that game, I looked at it and said, this is a game I know I will like and I'll buy, which is what I did. But I just haven't gotten to play it yet. But there has been stuff that have been bangers the entire year for the service. But I feel like that's the first time ever for the service. Because every other time I can think about it, it's been sporadic. Like it's been, we have this game in August, but now we have nothing until November, kind of a thing. So I don't know. Like for me, I will continue my thing that I've been talking to my friend about this a lot. Like I'm going to continue paying for Game Pass this generation until we get to whatever the next Xbox generation. And then I'll make that decision of like, let's see what the value of it is here. I also think like I can at least still argue that $20 a month is good value for what Game Pass offers. Whereas like if they do a upgrade or whatever you want to call it, increase in the price, I don't know why I couldn't think of the word, that starts to get kind of questionable. Like, well, let's say they push it to 25. Is it worth $25 a month? I don't know.
I'm not sure if 25 is going to peak.
I have a hard time convincing myself Netflix is worth $25 right now. So, but that's me.
Same. I will say because I decided to buy Elden Ring, I do have to re-up my subscription to PlayStation in order to play online with my friend.
Oh, yeah.
And I didn't think about that until I literally bought it, and then I like went to play it, and it was like, "Oh, you're not online," and I was like, "Fuck!" I was like, "You mean I gotta pay?"
That's the one that kills me more. Like at least with Xbox now, it's all bundled with Game Pass, so it's like fine, I get it. With the PlayStation, that's the one that kills me the most because it's like I'm literally just paying to play online here, which is so stupid at this point.
And I think one of the main reasons I've kept Game Pass for so long is because I can play it on my PC.
Yeah, no, that's the Play Anywhere stuff is amazing. So
while I enjoy playing like on my Xbox and my Series X and all that jazz, I also play a lot on my PC too. So it's kind of like I can warrant paying $20 a month for it because it is something that I actively still utilize.
yeah,
And I think even if it jumps to 25, I'll still warrant doing it.
I think
because
25 is the max right now. Where I think you get higher than that, then it's kind of
I think once you get higher than that is when I'm gonna jump off.
it's like,
Because I just don't see at that point it being a financially worth it.
exactly.
So we'll see what happens. We'll see if they decide to jump it up anymore. But
My
as
prediction
of right
is
now,
if they do, it'll be around the time Call of Duty comes out. It's usually so like October.
Yeah.
So that's the window. Adam from La Crosse, Wisconsin. High 572 guys. With the announcement of the new Xbox hardware deal with AMD and the release of Steam integration on the Xbox app, along with Sarah Bond's comment that the next system will support other storefronts, are we looking at a new Xbox that supports your Steam library? This feels like the kind of dark horse push that would get a lot of people back in on buying an Xbox. I know I would buy one without question if it supported Xbox games. How do you think that it would work for games that are on Steam if they publish? I feel like they would want you to play those games in their own ecosystem on their system. Also, 2026 really does seem like they want to get this system out and move past this pretty damn disastrous Series X/S generation. What do you all think? That is one part of it that I'm trying to wrap my head around right now when I think about it is like, okay, so let's say the next Xbox, you can play your Steam library. Yeah. Are they really going to let you play something like Halo the Master Chief Collection, the Steam version, on your Xbox? I don't know.
I don't really think they care at that point because essentially they're still getting
the money. Yeah, that's the thing.
You know what I mean? Like, yeah. I think it'd be different if it's strictly a Steam game.
Here's the bigger thing about that I would question. Let's say the new Xbox allows you to natively play Steam games or Epic's game, whatever, GOG, whatever. Will it require you to have an Xbox Live subscription to pay to play those games online? Or, like, do they lock it on that console behind that so they're getting a cut? Is that the cost of it? Or because, well, I'm loading this game up on Steam, it doesn't matter because, you don't pay to play online on Steam. So that would be the question. That would be the bigger question I would ask is like, are you locking yourself behind that pay to play online paywall by buying an Xbox to play Steam games?
I feel like at that point you have to, you're going to.
Right? That's what I think too. As shitty as Steam, it sounds.
Like any Steam game you play, you play online, not a problem. But Xbox, you have to have Game Pass to play online. And I just don't see how
you can. I think you can. Did they erase it? Like you cannot buy. I don't think you can buy Gold anymore on its own. I think you have to get Game Pass, like at least Game Pass Core.
Yeah, you have to in order to play.
Okay.
I think personally, I feel like I don't think Xbox would do that because even if you buy a game on Steam, you're still giving a cut to Xbox and Microsoft.
Yeah, I can see that.
So I feel like if Xbox continues to do what they're doing as far as dropping their main titles, like let's say Indiana Jones, for example, dropping that on Xbox, in January, and then, re-releasing it for PS5 and PC, in April, it's either going to give people the idea, well, I'm going to have to wait to play it, or I can just buy it now and then play it now. So that I think that's kind of what they're leaning towards. I think they're going to continue doing this thing where they allow their first party games to be released on other consoles and whatnot, or other engines, I guess you could say, but still giving them the opportunity to release everything day one so that they do get their primary cut before anything else. I guess, I mean, that really is the only way, because you can't, at that point, you would have to pull your library off of Steam to keep it on the Xbox. And at
Yeah,
that
it's a
point in
little
time,
weird.
you're losing more money if you do that.
Agreed.
So I mean, ultimately, I guess we'll really have to see. I mean, like we said, really, if you own a computer, just fucking upgrade your computer.
My thing is, like, I'm already planning on building a new PC next spring.
Yeah.
And that PC at that point, I already know will be more powerful than whatever this console is. So
yeah,
I don't see for me personally the value. Whereas where that idea changes is, unfortunately, and this is 100% my fault. In my household, at some point, naturally, I converted my fiance from a PlayStation person to an Xbox person, and she plays everything on the Xbox. Part of that is because of the way, like, the game sharing stuff works between accounts. It's just easier.
Yeah,
right.
It's easier.
I don't have to pay for her to have Game Pass for her to play those games. She can just play on the same system. So, whereas, unfortunately, on the PlayStation side of things, as I've learned, if she wants to play a digital game that I've purchased on her own account on the same PlayStation, not going to happen. It's locked.
Yeah.
So that's one of the main reasons was why she, like, at some point she just kind of shifted over to the Xbox. Also, the games that interest her, like, I guess some of her third party, but like one of her favorite games, she's replaying it right now, High on Life. It's an Xbox thing. So at first it's on PlayStation now, but
yeah.
But no, so like in my specific household setting, I unfortunately have a reason where it's like, yeah, I probably will end up having it. But if it was just me personally going into it, I would probably just stick with the PC that I have and whatever the PlayStation is.
And I think that's where I'm at right now too. Like I told my wife, I said, I don't think part of me is going to purchase any more future consoles or anything else of this nature. I think I'm done. I think I'm officially done buying anything new or upgraded, because I don't even really want to switch to at this point.
I can't tell anyone, like, with enough confidence, like, you should go out and buy a Switch 2 right now. Like, I don't want to say I have even less confidence, because I think the PS5 Pro is a worse investment than a Switch 2. I really do. Like, hey, maybe Pragmata, because that's the only game that has specifically said every time this is running on a PS5 Pro. Maybe that'll be the game. So, but like, I cannot tell anybody in good faith that it is worth $700 or $800 if you want the disc drive. So
I feel like at this point in time, we're
just
really
in a weird
nothing.
place, and like, I've said many times, and it's kind of changed over the years, but like, I think the best thing somebody could do in 2025, if you can find deals on the parts, is to just build a PC.
Yeah,
because
I mean, at
the Steam
this point in
sales,
time,
and we have an email about it, but like the Steam sales, you can get so many things. Like, even if you're somebody that doesn't have to always play the latest and the greatest,
if you
there's
hold
so much.
Yeah, and not only that, but I feel like Steam just drops stuff at such a bonkers discount that I don't feel bad paying $5 for a game.
No,
versus $25 for a game.
Even pre, like, them changing the refund policy.
Exactly.
Where, like, now it's like it's very easy to get a Steam refund. Although I think if I were to go on the Steam sale tomorrow, buy 10 games and return 9 of them because I didn't like them, they might have a problem with that. But that might be a questionable thing. But like, anytime I've had to ask for a refund, they haven't had a problem. But like, if it's something I'm paying $5 or under for, and I play it for an hour and I think it's shit, I'm not going to ask for a refund. I don't care.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, I paid $5. It is what it is. So
yeah. I'm in the same boat as you. I think at this point in time, it's just upgrading my PC to components that are needed.
If you're the kind of person
games
that really needs to have a handheld option, the Steam Deck is very good. So and I'm sure probably by 2027 there'll be a Steam Deck 2. At some point they will have to upgrade that hardware, but
For
right
sure.
now, that thing is as powerful, if not more, than a Switch 2. So,
Yeah.
you know, and it's a very good, and like that's the other that is the other argument I would make to people instead of getting a Switch 2 is like a Steam Deck is a very good investment just for having that storefront.
Yeah, that makes sense. I would go for that too.
Yeah. Speaking of the Switch 2, our next email comes to us from Henry from Lexington, Nebraska. Hi, guys. I bought a Switch 2 at launch, and all I have to say is I've been incredibly disappointed with this thing. It's literally the same system. It just runs everything better. Mario Kart I enjoyed for a few days, but this latest patch destroyed online multiplayer for the game. Donkey Kong doesn't look good to me at all. I'm wondering what's really next after that. I do want to play Metroid Prime 4, but I wish Nintendo would pull back the curtain just a bit more and give me a few more reasons to be excited, because right now I just feel like I made a huge mistake with this thing. And that's kind of what I said originally I think it was last week when I talked all about the Switch 2 and everything, as far as since I've had it. Like, for me, I have my struggle is picking the first game to play. That's the biggest struggle I have right now. But I totally understand where a lot of people are coming from. It's funny because when I went to pick up my Death Stranding the other day from Best Buy, they have giant signs everywhere in the front of that store just saying we are out of Switch 2. Just I'm talking like officially printed signs. They're not like they just made these. So
like poster boarded
and I will
that
say,
thing up.
When I was in Walmart today, they do not have any Switch 2s. They also, I should mention this really quick. It doesn't pertain to this email, but the Walmart by me has reset everything to the point that the Switch and the PlayStation are all in the same aisle now, and Xbox is in the aisle that the Switch stuff was in, and it is like 1 4-foot section for the Xbox.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so like they're getting ready to pull that stuff out. They didn't even have any Xbox systems like Series X or S, which I thought was kind of interesting.
Well, and the other day, I forgot to send this to you guys, but the other day I saw one of my friends send me a post that they're clearancing out a bunch of games from like Walmart and stuff like that.
Yeah, they didn't have, so like they do have some Xbox stuff, but it's all still at that like $15 price point where I'm like, you need to be $5 and then maybe. And even then, I'm not really looking for physical Xbox stuff at this point. So
same.
I went looking for Superman toys and they had nothing.
Oh,
that movie comes out in 2 weeks. Nothing. Like, so my fancy asked me, she's like, okay, did they have like a section where the toys could be? No. They had nothing. You want Jurassic World?
An empty section?
You want Jurassic World? Got a ton of toys for that movie, but like nothing for Superman. And Dan has sent me pictures of the toys from his Walmart, so it's like, all right, I guess I'm gonna have to try that one, because like I just wanted to buy a regular Superman figure. I thought, all right, nothing to celebrate that movie there. They got T-shirts, that's it.
That's wild,
which I already have. So, anyways, as far as the Switch 2 goes, like that pretty much rounds out what I said about it, and I think a lot of people. If you spent the last 8 years of your gaming life on a Switch, there's not much you're going to get out of a Switch 2 right now, other than some games play better, but you probably already played those games. So
I was talking to my son and his friend. His friend's like 10 years old too, and he was going in on it because his dad actually has 2 Switch 2s. Okay. He bought 2, and he was like, honestly, I just don't see a real reason for it at all. He was like, there are not a lot of games for it. Nothing really like is great on it.
Yeah.
And that's how I feel. Like, my thing is like, if you're going to release the Switch 2, you need to release like at least 5 banger titles that people can like go into.
And like we talked about it last time, like it is crazy to me that the biggest selling games for this thing, outside of obviously everybody's getting Mario Kart, but Mario Kart, if you're buying the thing, you probably bought the bundle that came with Mario Kart, if you could. Our Cyberpunk, which is the worst version of that game.
Weird.
Street Fighter 6, which like that's been out for a year. And like I forget what the third one is, but I see those constantly. Like every time I see someone like, oh, I went out and bought a Switch 2 today, it's always those games. And I'm like, really, man? Like that just Seems weird that that's what you're buying.
It is strange that that's what they're getting. So I mean, and like we said, this whole virtual key card thing has also thrown me off really big with the Switch idea. Like, so there's not a part of me that is going to be buying a Switch 2. I will say that at least Switch has the right idea, and Mario Kart World is not backwards compatible.
At least there's
we are.
At least there's
like
that.
In a fucking time era where PS5 and PS4 games are still being dropped. Like, stop it. At this point, just go all PS5 or just not, because it doesn't make any sense in this generation of gaming what we're doing.
We're like more than likely about ready to fire off a new Xbox next fall.
Yeah.
But you are still putting out games for
So are you
2
telling
generations
me next
ago,
fall, are you going to be releasing content for all 3 Xboxes now?
Right?
Is it going to be Xbox One, Xbox Series X, Xbox X?
That doesn't make
any sense.
I did put in the news, but they actually released a dashboard update for the 360 this week.
Oh my gosh.
Only to add a posted ad on the front page trying to get people to buy a Series X and upgrade.
That's bananas, man.
A 20-year-old system is getting a
So
dash
crazy.
update in 2025. Like, ridiculous.
That's wild.
Isaac from San Marcos, Texas. Hey, dudes, I'm curious with the Steam sale that just started. You guys have any recommendations for anything that's heavily discounted? I'll take literally any recommendations. I just don't know what to check out. I did not write anything down ahead of time. I'm actually going to open my Steam here really quick and hope it doesn't break this recording. I don't think it will.
So I will say the game that I saw that did drop that looked like that I know is worth it is RoboCop. We were talking about that. I was talking about.
I was like, that's $5 if you haven't bought RoboCop yet.
90% off, dog. Like
that is
90% off is wild.
Great. Yeah, because I remember what the issue was when that game came out. I was still on a 2070, and I think that game requires like at least a 3060.
Yeah.
So I could get it now. I mean, I played it on the Xbox, but if I wanted to, I could get it now. But $5. That game is an incredible value and a fantastic game.
I will say the same thing. Like, I know I've only played really the demo of RoboCop, but when I saw that, I was like, damn, you're telling me $5 for that? I was like, that's actually something that may make me buy it just because of that price. Another one for me, Little Nightmares 2.
I was gonna say it's
only
$3.
$2.99. Yeah, like, take a chance on that one.
The whole Crash Bandicoot Insane trilogy is only $4. Like, that's kind of a crazy one. If you haven't played the Guardians of the Galaxy game, which I actually haven't, but that's only $6. Like, that's a pretty wild deal.
I enjoy that game. My son has made me play it, and I've actually had a good time with it. I haven't been able to like play through it all, but what I have played of it seems really good.
Platformers and Metroidvania type games, the first Blasphemous is $2.49.
Oh, Death Stranding 1
15
is at 15.
That's a very good
right now.
The other one I was going to throw out is like I don't know if you've played any of these Jurassic World Evolution games, but the second one is $3.
I saw that.
Those are very good. So like way better than they have any right to be. I mean, if for whatever reason you don't have that anniversary edition of Skyrim, that's $10.
Yeah.
So a lot of really good. I really want to play Lies of P, but I want to play that on PlayStation. But
yeah, I played a little bit of that. It was not something I was into.
Like I said, I'm personally kind of looking at like maybe getting Cyberpunk on PC.
Yeah.
You can get
Detroit Become Human was a really solid title.
It's a solid game, yeah.
And it's only $12 right now, so I mean that's a good one to try and snag.
You can get Cyberpunk Ultimate Edition that has that DLC expansion for $38, or if you just want the base game, it's $20. That's the lowest that's ever been. So,
yeah, I mean, there's a lot of
great
good
deals.
stuff. You just kind of have to like jump through it and like. I like looking at reviews, honestly.
That's what I do too.
What everybody says, whether or not they're positive or not. And for me, like I said, trying to limit the games that I actually buy. right now, I've been trying to find ones with demos so that I can go through the demo to see if it's actually something
Yeah, I was
that
gonna
I
say, at
feel
least
like
in
I'd be
the
down.
case of RoboCop, you played that demo, so
Yeah,
you know
and
that.
I mean, I enjoyed it, but it was also not a game that I was gonna pay full price for.
No.
That's why I never really jumped into it. But at the
Ranch
fact now, it's
Simulator is
fine.
down to $5.
Hey,
there's a lot of the simulator game. I mean, that's the kick I'm on currently, but like a lot of those games are on sale.
yeah.
I mean, I'll throw one out right now. If for whatever reason you've never played the core Halo games, the Master Chief Collection is $10. Like that's an unbelievably great deal if you've never played those or want to revisit them. Like $10, and you get. I think you would get everything. So you would get Master Chief Collection. You would obviously get those 4 games, but you'd also get Reach and ODST.
Yeah,
So
I don't know. There's a lot of DLC on sale right now. Like all the Vampire Survivor DLC.
yeah,
is
if you never got
available.
that on, if Steam's where you play, I played that on the Xbox, but
same.
But if you ever want to get that game, and like I've thought about replaying it again on here. Another ones I want to throw out because they're like you can get better versions of them than the Switch. Bravely Default 2 and Triangle Strategy are both $23.99. Those are good deals. I'm also sitting on Aliens Dark Descent, which is that RTS that came out. That's down to $15. That's not bad.
Yeah. The one that I was looking at that I am sitting on right now is A Midnight Walk.
Sounds familiar. Oh yeah, the one that just came out, right? The claymation. Yeah,
because it reminds me a lot of Little Nightmares, and that's 25% off.
Although,
so that's actually something I might be leaning.
Here's
towards.
one I'll rant on a little bit because it's kind of ridiculous. Okay, the original Black Ops is $20. Why is that $20 in 2025? 15-year-old game.
That's dumb.
There's a lot of just like stuff like this startup company one looks kind of interesting. That's $6. I have that on my wish list. The Dark Forces remaster Star Wars, it's down to $16 finally. That's decent price.
Stardew Valley is $7 right now.
It's not a bad. If you've never gotten Stardew Valley, that's a good deal.
Yeah.
Other ones that I would recommend if you're looking for RPGs, any of the East games.
Yeah.
All of those are on pretty decent sales right now. I mean, obviously the one I would go for every day, all day would be 8, but you can start that series anywhere and have a great time with it. I am thinking about maybe trying have you ever watched The Exorcist Simulator? You seen that one?
I don't think so. No.
It's kind of fucked up. It's down to 6. I might do it.
Which one is that?
You should look it up. It's called Exorcist Simulator. The only reason I'm a little off on it is because I do think it is a co-op game, but it is sitting at mixed reviews right now. So, but it looks. I've seen some footage. It looks pretty wild.
Okay. There was another one of these games I saw that was on part of this sale, and I think
I saw like a TikTok video or something on it. It was like that. If you never got that Schedule 1 game, and that was kind of the hot shit a couple months ago, that's down to 13. That's not a bad deal. Signalis, which is a pretty good recent survival horror game, that's down to 13.
The Forest is a pretty good game.
It's a pretty good game.
At $4 right now.
Here we go. Cabin Crew Life Simulator. Hardware Store Simulator. Okay, this was a game I was thinking of that's on my list. It's called Tainted Grail, The Fall of Avalon. That's that indie Oblivion game. That's down to 35. Yeah. So.
Oh, and we're talking about Shadow of War. That's $5 right now.
Here's the other one that's high on my list that I'm thinking about doing. It's called Sunset Motel. It is a hotel renovator game.
Oh.
It's down to 15. This one's usually a little bit higher price one, but there's a lot to it looks like.
Okay.
It's got very positive reviews, but they're still updating it too. I don't think it's a early access game, but
that's a good one too. Titanfall 2. And it's only $4.
That's a great deal for that. Mm-hmm. So I mean there's a lot of good stuff like that I would highly recommend, but like I will say like as someone who's been lived through many Steam sales, there was a period of time where I feel like the Steam sales kind of were kind of stagnant. Like they kind of just were, all the games are just always the same sale price. I feel like this one is a pretty good one where things are going a little bit lower.
This is the one I just saw, Demonologist.
Okay, I've heard of that one.
Yeah, it's at $10 right now, and it's got very positive reviews.
Okay.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's all sorts of stuff. I mean, it's a great sale. I think it's going on until July 10th, so you got some time. That's why I haven't really made any purchases yet. I typically, unless it's something I'm going to play right away, I typically wait till like the last day and then I make my purchases. So
I think, unfortunately, I might be making 2 purchases here.
Well, that RoboCop is a hell of a deal. Like that's $5 is ridiculous for that game.
Well, shit, I might actually be making 3 purchases here because I am interested in a Midnight Walk. That's a game I have been looking at.
What is that down to?
19.
It's not bad for something that just came out.
Yeah. Oh, actually, I take that back. Sorry, 29. I think is what it says.
Okay.
Yeah, a Midnight Walk. Hold on, I had it on my wish list. Yeah, $29.99. It's regularly $39.99, so it's 25% off, which isn't bad. It's got very positive reviews on it, and I've been looking at that too. That and Once Upon a Puppet.
Okay.
So either one of those. It looks like all the games that I've looked at on my wish list are right now on sale. Part of this sale.
Usually, how it goes, there's usually like 1 or 2 outliers that just never go on sale.
Yeah.
It's like every time Sony runs a new sale on the PlayStation storefront, Dan and I look for that Godfall DLC, which never goes on sale. And it's only $15, but like I'm at the point where it's like, fine, I'll just pay your $15 blood tax, but he won't do it. He's just like, he refuses to pay it.
This is a good one too. Ready or Not is on sale at half off at $24.99.
It's not a bad deal for that game. Yeah. Okay.
I really enjoyed it. So, yeah, I think there's a good bit of stuff if you really just...
It's one of the better Steam sales they've had in a while. Easily.
Just kind of look through. Like, personally, like I said, if you find games that got demos, play them. Like, download them real quick, give them a shot. If it's something you feel like you're enjoying, then, if it's part of that sale, buy it. Because, like you said, if it's like $4 or $5, $6, even under $10 at this point in time, I feel like that's a good purchase price.
Yeah.
So I think, honestly, it just kind of depends on what you like. But if something you like is on sale and you want to give it an opportunity, just do it, man. Do it.
Our final email comes to us from Brandon from Lakeland, Florida. Do any of you think it's absolutely insane the hypocrisy going around with the game journals and Death Stranding 2? The game received an overwhelmingly positive review, sits at a 90 on Metacritic, and by all accounts is a game of the generation. But these same people were incredibly quick to hate the original game. Hell, IGN made sure they had a critic that liked the first game review the second one, and even put out an article basically retracting the original review of the first game. It all just seems very disingenuous to me. Also, if any of you played it, obviously, I've already talked about it. I've played it. I've noticed it though, and I've laughed. The one that I noticed was the IGN thing because I remember famously that game was given a 6.8 when it came out.
Yeah,
and I get it. There are some people when that game came out, it wasn't what they wanted. I think a lot of Kojima fans wanted another Metal Gear Solid type game, and like Death Stranding is not that.
Yeah.
Although there is a lot more stealth in this. There are stealth elements to Death Stranding, but there's a lot more of it, I feel like, even in the little bit I played this one than the last one. I also say, like, and a lot of it I think has to do with technology and what the PS5 is capable of compared to the PS4, but like there are a lot of parts of the terrain of the original Death Stranding that felt kind of empty.
Yeah.
And this one doesn't feel like that. Like there seems like a lot more going on. And again, I think that's a technology thing. I just think the game was
Gotcha.
kind of limited on the PS4 compared to what they can do with the PS5. And again, that also brings up my same argument where it's like, if you look at this game running on a base PS5, I still say 5 years in, I don't think we've scratched the surface of what these two machines are capable of. So to just put out a pro system and then on Microsoft's side be like, let's just kill this generation and start a new one, just seems ridiculous to me.
I agree. I don't know. That's kind of where I'm at, leaning towards when it comes to like new systems in general. Like I just don't see. I really feel like we haven't cracked the surface with any of these.
I get it. Back in the day, like you go to NES to Super NES to 64 to GameCube, right? Those were all 5-year intervals, which seems wild when you think about it. But like the first generation that was extended was the 360, and that was because of the recession. That was the real reason it was extended. But then I think everybody kind of realized after, like, why are we limiting this to just 5 years? You know,
Right.
And that's then obviously, whereas like I would argue, I think the Xbox One PS4 generation should have went on another year. I think we launched these systems we're currently on too early. They were not ready.
Can agree.
There wasn't enough at like PlayStation. You could at least make an argument with the PS5. There were a couple games at launch, whereas like literally Microsoft launched a new system with nothing exclusive to that system. Like that's how bad it was for them this generation. So it's weird that we're in a weird time for video games, and also like I feel like we've hit this wall with graphics. Like it's really hard to make something. I mean, yes, you could sit down and go back to a original PS4 game and go all the way up to a game today and be like, yeah, is there a noticeable difference? Sure. But it is not what it used to be.
That noticeable. Yeah. I agree.
And I just think we're pushing too fast to move to a new system when, again, I can only count like a handful of games this generation that have been strictly for this generation that I'm like, okay, that was worth it. A lot of it has been cross-gen. A lot of it has been, indie stuff.
Yeah.
So, but as far as like as far as Death Stranding 2 goes, I like even only playing an hour and a half of it, like I could say like it does seem like something very special, and it does seem like one of those watershed moment games of like, okay, all the cards are aligning for this, and this will be something that is remembered from this generation. But as far as the games journalists and hypocrisy, it is what it is. We live in such a weird time when it comes to games journalism anyways. I feel like YouTube is kind of taken over to that position for a lot of things. Like, if you want to put out there like Twitch, a lot of people just will still buy games day one, and you can go watch them play it and make a decision. But the main argument I've made for a long time, I think we've all made for a long time on this podcast, is unless it's something you really want to play at launch, a lot of times it's best to just wait a little bit.
Yeah,
games get patched, they get fixed, they're made better.
There's too much going on when they release games that are not fully like properly working.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, and that's just like at this point in time, unless you just want to be part of that Twitch, YouTube curb
that like 2-week conversation.
Where you have to be here. It really feels like you don't have to be there anymore. Like you can literally just wait. And like, you run the risk of finding out what happens, spoilers and all that jazz. But I don't know, man.
Like I'll say this, like I still haven't played Clair Obscur. It has still not been spoiled for me. And that shit is everywhere.
Yeah.
Everywhere. And
Same.
I have avoided those spoilers successfully for months. So
yeah, I just don't feel like when it comes to gaming, if you're not specifically watching someone play it through it like back to back, a lot of the times you don't have to read or watch you don't have to really go into detail further about it. You can kind of just leave it be, and like if you see someone playing it, you can watch the gameplay footage of it and see how they feel about it, but you don't really have to like know what happens.
I will say on the flip side of that, there have been two things about Death Stranding that have already been spoiled for me. And that's just because I mean, I refuse to watch this launch trailer they put out because I also get to a certain point with games where it's like, I can tell you right now, I give a very easy example. Resident Evil 9 Requiem, I don't need to see any more of it. I know I'm going to play it. I literally don't need anything else more to sell me on that game. Like, at this point, I would rather not know anything else. Like, yeah, I have my prediction that probably a majority of those characters are going to return at some capacity in this game, but I don't need them to make a trailer to show me that they're in it to sell me this game. So
I gotcha. That makes sense.
And like Death Stranding is a good example of like they're very Easter egg thing, but they're very Easter egg Kojima things where it's like there's one thing in particular, I'm not going to spoil it here, but it's a very famous line from Metal Gear that is said by a different character that like that would have been a really fucking cool thing if I had seen it in the context of the game. But being that somebody made some stupid video on TikTok of it that I saw puts me down because now when I see that, it's infinitely not as cool.
Yeah.
So
but that makes sense.
That kind of stuff is irritating. Somehow I've avoided all that with Claire's Gear. That's what's weird. Like somehow, like even with Dan talking about that game week on week on week, I've avoided the spoilers of what the twist is, what's causing that, and everything. So it's crazy. But yeah, as far as Death Stranding, I do think there's hypocrisy with it, but that's the game's journalism thing today. Yeah. So I
agree.
I still think by end of next year, I don't think you're going to see anything left. Maybe IGN, but I think some of the other publications will finally be gone. Kotaku only has 4 people left. I don't know how they keep going. I really don't. So, that's going to wrap it up for this edition of the podcast, though. As always, you can send your emails into podcast572@gmail.com. Otherwise, thank you for watching or listening.
Stay safe.